Art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
You were supposed to get a colon cancer screening, but stuff came up.
We did have to pick up the twins from practice.
But on the way, we hit a giant pothole.
If you are 45 and older, don't let stuff get in the way of your screening. Visit the Colorectal Cancer Alliance at ccalliance.org.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner, so he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It's a fine afternoon to spend some time outside, just not quite as warm as yesterday. We'll see a high of 63 degrees. Overnight, it's a cool 45. And then tomorrow, nice and warm. High temperatures in the mid-70s. It'll be beautiful. Get out and enjoy it. A front comes through Saturday night that drops our temperatures into the upper 40s for Sunday.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check if your money. Dow Jones is up 213 points to 43,452.
And Kotkaniemi comes out swinging. Cousins lands a punch, but give the decision to the Canes centerman. Now they'll score out front. Stahl with the deflection. Byram loses it up front. Oh, he scores! And the Finns combined on this one. It's 2-0 Carolina. Rantanen shot. He scores! Mikko Rantanen feeling right at home here on Whalers night. Walker keeps it in. Loose puck out in front. The score! Hall from Roslovic. Oh, what a pass!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Vibes through the roof. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. Shout out to the Whalers. One time only, one night tour. Whalers showed up, Carolina Hurricanes, showed up against the visiting Buffalo squad, and thank goodness that game went the way it did. That is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Carolina Hurricanes / Whalers. I'm going to make that joke. Today will be the last day I call them the Whalers because obviously now they're going to go back this weekend to wearing their traditional sweaters. Here's the storyline. Here's how it played out. Yesterday on the show, I didn't even think I realized it as it was happening, but we talked quite a bit about the Canes going into last night's game against Buffalo. And I realized that we were all in a very December 17th, children on December 17th mode. We just couldn't help but talk about the things we wanted. The toys we wanted on Christmas. As much as we tried to break down the Canes with results and or predictions, it turned into a lot of, man, I just want Mikko to score. Just turned into a lot of it's about time Taylor Hall gets his first as a Carolina Hurricane. Wouldn't it be nice if that Aho, Svech, Rantanen line, put up like 4 points. 4 goals would have been nice too, but 4 points. There was just a lot of like, man, I wish. Wouldn't it be nice if all those questions about why Mikko isn't performing since he came over to the Canes, isn't producing since he came over to the Canes, wouldn't it be nice to just rub a multi-point night, including at least a goal, in their face? There was, as much as we talked facts, we talked wishes. And then I'm watching the Canes game, in which, by the way, I'm just gonna admit some things. Right? I got some family in town. We have our newborn daughter. I didn't get to it right at the start. Missed a fight, missed a couple of goals. I'm like, I'm like 15 minutes late. What's going on here?
Yeah, if you weren't watching from the puck drop, you missed stuff.
Like, goodness gracious. Got to go back and figure out what happened because the Canes I've been watching, this isn't how it starts. It hasn't even been that risky to miss the first 15 minutes of a game up till this point, unless you're worried about missing goals from the other team. So and then I'm watching the game and I'm going back and catching up on what I missed. And I started realizing, right, like Stahl scores. I'm like, I think we said on the show today it'd be nice if Stahl scored. Aho scores. I'm like, I know we said on the show it'd be nice if Aho scored. Oh, look at that. Rantanen gets a point. I know we start, and everything that we talked about just started check, check, check. And I think I may have actually said out loud, the only thing that hasn't happened yet is Jarvis hasn't scored. Sure enough, he makes a nice little hustle play, beats him to the empty netter, seals it for the Canes. Everything we were asking for happened. So can everyone relax for a minute? Can everybody just chill? They started a homestand with a dominant win. You get 2 more home games this weekend. You had Whalers night. The energy was high. It was a good day. Can you push back the intrusive thoughts jumping into your head for a minute? Just one off day, push back the thoughts of, oh, Mikko Rantanen's going to be another Jake Gensel. He's going to show up. It's going to be a rental, and he's going to just take the sky is falling Chicken Little attitude out of here for 48 hours and enjoy a dominant victory where the roster played the way you hoped the roster would play, and your studs played like studs, your role players filled their roles, your captain did captain things, and everything beyond worked. Starting with Mikko Rantanen, 2 points, including the goal. After the game, he talked about how it felt not only to get that goal, but to get it on the power play and finally cash in.
It's been tough, we haven't really – we created some chances, I think last game Fisher hit the post, so it's been kind of close, but now this time it's posting in, which was good, I think after you get one, you get a little confidence, hopefully, and get more chemistry and more confidence.
Tone setters, right? You're looking for things that can sway the momentum. You heard him say, right? Hopefully you get one. Now they start coming, right? You get one power play goal. Hopefully next time it's a little easier. Next time it's a little easier. You catch that rhythm. Stahl scored. Aho scored. Taylor Hall first goal, as we mentioned. Jarvis scored. Rantanen scored. There were some great defensive plays as usual, but there's one more person that deserves a shout out. One more person. That's Jesperi Kotkaniemi. They're and I've said this before, and hockey people have gotten mad at me. I don't like that the sport just includes the fighting thing. I think there's other ways to deal with stuff. But as long as it's part of the sport, you cannot deny the jolt it gives your team when you essentially knock a dude out. when not only there is a fight, but you are the aggressor, it's right from the opening puck drop, and you win the fight. You can't tell me that doesn't give your team a boost. Jesperi Kotkaniemi, after the fight, talking about what led to the fight. This is the audio.
Oh, I don't know. Just quick decision, I guess. I don't know. Just, I think we need a little energy there. I don't know. I rarely start the game, so I thought I might do something there. But, we got a little energy from that. Got a good start for the game, and, could get out winning it.
I think it was more intentional than that.
We asked him a little bit further. I was like, okay, when did you actually think about this? He goes, probably during the anthem.
During the
national anthem.
During the break, he said, I have the quote here written down. We haven't been home in a while. I just wanted to get the crowd going a little bit and get the boys in the mix right away.
It did.
Absolutely. I think the cool thing after a fight, it's like walking away without turning around in an explosion in a movie. The cool thing is to be like, I don't know, I just wanted to do. I think that was more intentional than that. I think he felt, and by the way, Kotkaniemi should feel, I need a way to contribute. I need a way to liven up this team. Maybe he hasn't been doing some things that he wants to be doing over the last however long, and he found a way and it worked. He found a way and it worked. And then you just start diving onto all the little things that you love, the intangibles. Do you know what I loved, and I didn't even realize after the game, right, watching the post-game theatrics, Rantanen on one side, Slavin on the other, giving high fives as the team gets off the ice. It's such a small, such a seemingly minuscule image, but I saw it and I went, oh, that's good, right? That's Rantanen, something that he did in Colorado. Slavin, obviously, on the other side, as stable as it gets. It's just, okay, yeah, he's now working himself into the fabric. Is every game going to be like last night? Absolutely not. It would be outlandish to think it will. But a day off after that game can reset the engines a bit, and it's something we've been asking for a while for that team, is just a chance to reset the engines.
I posted yesterday during the game. It felt like Canes hockey yesterday. For the first time in a while, I actually felt like, the way they're playing, the energy in which they're on the ice, the way they're being direct with their style of play, it felt like a Canes game. First time in a while that we've watched them be like, there's Canes hockey.
The ideal version of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this, like the way that we have known them to be. And I actually asked Rod about it in the postgame. Like, you felt like you got back to it. Mm-hmm. Like your identity is like, early on especially, felt like we were playing the way that we play.
We're going to break down a few things from Elliot Friedman's 32 Thoughts. He reveals these articles, these podcasts where he talks about things he's hearing in the NHL. Friedman, national hockey reporter. There was a line in it that we're not going to include with the other times we break it down. But I think it's a funny thing that may prove a turning point for the Canes. Talking about the loss to Montreal on Tuesday. This is what Friedman said. Tuesday's dreary loss in Montreal made me wonder if the situation hangs over the Hurricanes. But then I remembered they had 2 days off in Montreal. You can't even broadcast under those conditions. Basically hinting at, like, Montreal is a bachelor party destination. You know what I mean? That's Canadian Vegas. Like, hey, if you get 2 days off in Montreal, then you have to play a hockey game. You're playing dehydrated. Like, you're tired. I'm only half kidding when I say this. 2 nights out in Montreal, or a night out in Montreal as a new team, can work its wonders, right? Where you can just get to know a player, where you have, like Hall and Rantanen and these guys trying to become part of the crew. It's hard to become part of the crew on practice ice. It's much easier to become part of the crew in a night out. I don't know if they did, but I know that, like, off seasons are often times where the relationships are built, and they don't get that luxury with the new guys. So maybe they tried to pack an entire off season into like 4 hours in downtown Montreal. If it happened, then I'm again only half kidding here. That may have impacted the way everything just seemed to be more cohesive in their next game. Maybe. Half kidding. Half kidding. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to try to ride those waves, ride those vibes through a high, optimistic, high-energy Friday show. That's what we're doing here on The Drive. But first, we have to hear from Dennis Cox. Here he is.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. College basketball is full go right now. Fans are ready to see which teams will prove they are ready to shine in March and who will be seen in San Antonio. You can get in on all the action from tip-off to the final whistle at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Right now, new ESPN Bet Sportsbook customers can bet $10 to get $100 in bonus bets and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the app and sign up with the promo code Radio100 to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. UNC taking on Miami this weekend, looking for their 5th straight win. Is it a must-win game for the Tar Heels? Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I know we don't want to degrade the trade yet, but if Luka and LeBron and the Lakers win a title this season, does it matter whatever happens with the Mavs in the future?
Nope.
It doesn't. I wonder how nervous they are in Dallas, because if he goes on and wins a title this year, it doesn't matter if 5 years from now they win a title. Forever, we will say, what a dumb move.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
These days, it feels like everyone is talking about how the American dream of homeownership has become out of reach for so many of us. Well, Rocket is trying to give us more of a chance to own our homes. They're making homeownership simpler and more accessible to more people, turning renters into owners. Rocket believes that every one of us deserves a shot at the American dream. So, are you ready? Own the dream. Visit Rocket.com or call 800-4ROCKET.
Hey, Tim Donnelly here with a game day tip from WakeMed Heart and Vascular. Getting at least 7 hours of sleep a night helps maintain a healthy heart. Regular rest impacts your blood pressure levels, weight, and risk for diabetes. Plus, if you wake yourself up from snoring by choking or gasping, get checked for sleep apnea, which is also bad for your heart. So hit the sack and rest assured you're doing your heart a ton of good. Learn more about caring for your heart at wakemed.org.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. Like you know to check your sunroof is closed first before driving through the car wash.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, no. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So if you want to save money, check Allstate first at 888-ALLSTATE or allstate.com. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Syracuse has the ball. Jackson gets the steal out in the middle of the floor. Took it away from Bell, and he'll hammer it down with one hand on the other side.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. For the second time in a week, after I don't think I've done it twice all college basketball season, I'm calling a game must-win. Tonight's a must-win. Sorry, tomorrow is a must-win game for UNC. They're taking on Miami. Must-win. The good news is, shouldn't be too much of an issue for them because Miami's the worst team in the ACC. But that's part of the reason why it is must-win. UNC has to be on a 6-game winning streak heading into the Duke game to end the regular season. They've already won 4 straight. You can argue about the competition level. Can't argue with the facts. 4-0 in their last 4. They have Miami, then Virginia Tech. If they go 6-0 in those 6 leading up to Duke, you can start spinning narratives. You can spin the narrative that they've clicked. You can keep the, they figured it out narrative alive, Even if you lose to Duke, by the way, you can do that because it's acceptable to lose to one of the top 2 teams in the country. But that's it. You can't lose to these others and pretend like your bad losses in the past or your lack of certain quadrant victories. Hey, that was before we figured it out. You can't argue that if you lose to Miami. You can't argue that. So you have to continue to do whatever's worked over the last 4. Hubert Davis, on Hubert Davis Live, his show, the head coach of UNC, talked about how proud he is of his team for ignoring the chatter.
Probably the thing that I'm most proud of is, them staying the course and staying connected. And, at times it's hard to do that, especially when things aren't going the way that you want them to go. To be able to stay connected and stay the course with so much noise from everywhere, it's really a testament to this group, this team, to be able to stay locked in and continue to competitively fight and continue to grow. And just, the improvement of over the last 2.5 weeks, you just can't help but see it.
That's all good. That's all good and well. It only matters if you finish it out. And the whole did it click, right? Because that's the other question, right? If I sit up here and I say something, a switch was flipped, right? If that's the narrative you're trying to spin, the next question is, well, what did you learn? I said this earlier in the week, I think, may have been last week. It's hard to explain, but sometimes just individual players start playing better. Jalen Withers could be a story of the ACC tournament and a story of the rest of the year. I went and did a breakdown. I'm going to give you some stats here. Just know that Withers is a player who, at the beginning of the year, there was like 3-4 guys, and one of them had to step up as a post player for UNC and become a level better than they had been in the past for this roster to work. We were aware of that, right? It could have been Washington, could have been Withers, maybe one of the incoming freshmen, Van Allen Lubin. There was an obvious need for a big guy to make a leap, and it hadn't really happened, and that's became one of the stories. Over the last 4 games, look at how much Withers has improved. He's appeared in 29 games this year, which means there were 25 games to start and then the last 4 during this 4-game win streak. In the first 25 games, Withers averaged 4.3 points and 3.4 rebounds. 4 and 3 if you're rounding. During the 4-game win streak, the one that they're currently on, that you would argue the switch was flipped, 13.5 points per game and 6.5 rebounds per game. Now, small sample size, right, can be skewed by one big performance here or there. But when you are tripling your scoring output and essentially doubling your rebounding output and adding, by the way, I didn't mention this, he went from 15.3 minutes per game in the first 25 to 23.5 minutes per game in the 4. When you are just adding all of that, playing efficiently, knocking down threes, defending well, rebounding well, that is what UNC needed. That at the beginning of the year, we would have told you if one of the big guys played that well, we would have been cool. Right? That makes you the leading rebounder on the team. That makes you you don't got to be all ACC, but it gives you a formidable big guy that can play and can stress the opposing team. If he can keep that going, then they are a different squad. It's a big if. All right, if you got 25 games of a player playing one way and 4 of a guy playing the other way, it's a big question to go, well, if he just keeps playing like he did in the 4, we'll be good.
Yeah, it's hard to expect that for a player to be consistently someone that they haven't been.
Which is 100% true. It might be necessary for them to reach the higher levels that they hope to reach. So, long shot's better than no shot. But I will say Withers was one of the guys that it did feel like, going back, he didn't spend most of his career, but since he's shown up in UNC the last 2 seasons, it did always feel like there was another level.
Yes,
it did.
100%.
Did always, and you didn't know how to get there. And I'm sure Hubert Davis, racked his brain over and over again for how can we drag this guy to the top of his potential. So there's I would say a better possibility for a player like Withers than for many others to have that moment, that aha where it all comes together, than it would be for someone who maybe didn't show the flashes. Right? I mean, every time he hits a three, I can tell you, because I watch all the games and I listen to all the games, I can tell you what the broadcast is going to say. When Withers knocks down a three, and there were times where he hit one over like 3 games, he hits it, the broadcast is going to 100%. They're going to go, Jalen Withers with the three. Then the play-by-play will keep going. And as soon as the color commentator gets a chance to talk, they're going to go, that is the player they expected to get when they brought him in out of the transfer portal from Louisville. He knocked down some shots from deep during the early parts of his career. It's almost like clockwork. If he hits a three, they're going to go, that's the player they expected. And I'm going like, all right, well, if they expected it, it's in there somewhere. He was a 42% three-point shooter his last year at Louisville. That's a really, really good shooter for somebody his size.
Yeah.
This year, with the recent emergence, 46% three-point shooter. What's my rule about three-point shooting? If you listen to the show often enough, you know it.
Keep shooting.
If you're shooting above 42%, you're not shooting enough. You got to keep shooting until that thing falls to 42%, because literally, you're just almost too efficient. It means you're being too selective with your shots. Rise and fire.
It's like against Virginia. It was 4-6 from behind the arc.
If you're ever 4 of 6, don't stop shooting until you miss 3 in a row. Like, it should be that kind of. It's not that black and white. It's not that concrete. But you shoot more is what I'm saying.
The last 5 games against Clemson, he was 1 for 2. Against Syracuse, 3 of 4. Against State, 2 of 4. Against Virginia, 4 of 6. Against Florida State, 1 of 2. He's been 50% or more the last 5 games.
Shoot more.
Yeah.
Shoot more. And that is one of the few things that I could see UNC pointing to literally and saying, we weren't good at this point in the season, right? Because they're gonna have all the advanced analytics and the net rankings and everything. But that was before Jalen Withers leveled up. And that's your argument for being on the bubble in the NCAA tournament. And we'll talk bracketology and where they sit, last 4 in, first 4 out, yada, yada, yada. If you're making the narrative argument to the humans on the committee, it is that was all before Jalen Withers leveled up. With him leveling up, we're a much better team, and we deserve to be in the tourney. We deserve to be above this team. We deserve to be, finish that sentence.
Last year in the regular season, he only had 3 games where he had double-digit figure scoring. 3. And he has 3 in the last 4. Now, I'm not counting the NCAA tournament game where against Wagner he had 16 and 10. It was great in that game, in that first-round game. And everyone was kind of like, whoa, where's this Jalen Withers been?
If you look at the beginning of the year, this year, they opened the season against Elon. He had a double-double. He had 10 and 10. The next game against Kansas, if you remember, they had that furious comeback, ended up losing by 3. He had 11 points, 9 rebounds. And that's when everybody was still high on UNC, right? Thinking, okay, they're a top 10 team. It'd been a long time since he had a game like that, and then he's brought it up in the last 4.
And that game against Kansas, he was 3 of 5 shooting from behind the arc.
I don't really know why they got away from it so much. I know he had some tweaked little tiny injuries and things. I don't know why they got away from it so much. Obviously, he wasn't playing at the level that he is now. But if he's figured it out, that's the thing UNC can build off of. In addition to, I like some of their perimeter players, and in addition to Van Allen Lubin being a gritty, undersized post. There's not the only thing they have, but that's one of the secret sauces for UNC. And Miami is a game where he can continue to build on it, because Miami's dead last in the ACC for a reason. Don't want to call it a get-back game, a get-right game, but hey, it's the closest thing you're going to get in the ACC. Especially if Matthew Cleveland doesn't play like he didn't play a couple of games ago. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have speaking of UNC, a UNC coach on the Dean's List today, and a couple of women's basketball players that had big nights last night. Stick around.
Move your sports day forward.
So understand in the job interview with Dave Canales, he loves a good backstory. So if you want to be his friend, get this. If he asks you the sky is blue, tell him it's blue, but it's Carolina blue. And it was the blue sky that you saw when you were flying kites with your aunt after your favorite goldfish died. There you go. Top 10 pick.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Welcome home with Baker Home Exteriors. Backed by a century of Baker roofing excellence, we bring expert roofing, siding, and gutter solutions to your doorstep. Transform your home today at BakerHomeExteriors.com. That's BakerHomeExteriors.com.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
I love what I do. I love coaching. I love the interaction with the players. I love building a team, working with the assistants, game planning, the game itself, which, there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but they're all learning experience and working with, young kids who, with the energy, enthusiasm to want to be good, to want to be successful. It's, it's great every day to wake up and come into that environment.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Hey, Dennis, can we confirm today's date?
Yes, February 28th, 2025.
So it is not April Fool's Day.
Correct.
Okay, that's important to remember as we head into the Dean's List here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Class is in session. First member of the Dean's List, which is where we highlight the good going on in college sports, people that deserve accolades that maybe are going under the radar. This one's not under the radar, but it deserves accolades. Bill Belichick and the UNC football team. Earlier this afternoon, I believe Front Office Sports had it first. It's since been reported a bunch of different places. UNC is going to be the off-season Hard Knocks team.
On HBO.
Last year, it was the New York Giants. This year, it's the UNC Tar Heels. Few things. One, that bodes well for North Carolina's claim that they're the 33rd NFL team. That they are getting Hard Knocks as if they are an NFL team. Two, this is why I had to confirm it wasn't April Fool's Day. Bill Belichick's been known for decades. As long as I've been a football fan, Bill Belichick has been known for giving you absolutely the minimum access and information about his team. If you ask about an injury, I'll put out the injury report. You'll see that when everybody else does. You ask about a play call? Well, we always make the play call that we think is going to help our team the best. Now, yeah, let's get all the cameras. Let's wire everybody up for microphones. Let's let you into our entire off-season process here and then broadcast it on HBO to anybody that has a subscription or the password to their friend's subscription. We're going to see how they run everything in the offseason, how they put together the staff, how they scout, how they use the portal. This is going to be fascinating. And what does that mean? It means UNC, it means Bill Belichick, it means Michael Lombardi, their GM, are aware of something. Sizzle. Buzz. It's the new currency. Brand building. It's the new currency in college sports. Dennis, a few days ago, I don't know how long it is, they all bleed together. Yeah. Not as long as it feels right now. We learned that schools have stopped putting out or are stopping their spring games.
A lot of them are, yeah.
Making spring practices not open to the public. This has become a trend in college sports. I hated that, right? Because I said, that's an opportunity that, sure, right, other coaches, transfer portal, lurkers don't get to see your guys. And sure, you get to protect your playbook a little bit. But also, you don't let your players become more buzzworthy. You don't let your players build their brand. You don't let their players make themselves more NIL money. You don't let your players be in the public eye, which is becoming wildly important in college sports, where so often recruits and transfers are going to the highest bidder or the place where they think they can make the most money. Imagine the opposite of making your spring game not public. That's probably going on Hard Knocks in the offseason. Mm-hmm. So let's be real, NC State, these two teams care about each other, they're rivals. When NC State is not letting the public go to any spring practices, not having a spring game for any of their fans to watch, essentially building like a wall around their program to prevent, spies, UNC is deciding to bring cameras into their facilities. I think UNC is doing it the right way.
I mean, it's smart. Tell everyone, show everyone what you're claiming that you are trying to build, claiming what you're going to do. Now show everybody that you're doing it. Because now people are going to watch.
Yep.
Clips are going to go on social media. People are going to see it. People are going to hear about it. People are going to talk about it, us. And word's only going to get out there further, which is the best thing.
It's one of the things I talk about with recruiting all the time. How many times does your name pop up in a recruit or a transfer's everyday life when you don't have to actively do it? If a coach calls a recruit, obviously they're going to think about that school. But how often when they're walking around their high school does your name pop up? How often when they're sitting around watching TV does your name pop up and just kind of permeate, right? There's a rule in radio advertising. I don't know if this is still true, but when I was selling advertising a decade ago, the rule of threes. Somebody has to hear something 3 times for it to stick in their brain. So, right, in radio, you want to get a phone number, a jingle, heard 3 times by somebody before they really catch it. UNC is going to be heard by everybody 3,000 times this offseason. So they make the Dean's List. Shout out to him. Another Dean's List member. We talked about him yesterday, but I just want to hype him up one more time. He is a Chambers High School grad, Charlotte area. James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee at the Combine. 6'5", 245. He ran a 4.47. 4.47.
That's fast.
That's fine. I mean, you made the joke that he should be a slot receiver.
Yeah.
There are certain slot receivers that are, 5'11", 175 that would love to run a 4.47. He's 6'5", 245 pounds. He ran a 4.47 40. Made himself some money, probably bumped himself up in the first round. Shout out to him. Final 2 members of the Dean's List for me. Actually, do you have anyone you'd like to add, Dennis?
I'd like to throw out UNC Wilmington men's basketball.
All right.
Got a big win over Campbell yesterday. 2 of the top teams in the CAA. So I think that might wrap up the regular season. I think possibly 4. Actually, I take that back. UNC Wilmington tomorrow hosts your Delaware Blue Hens. to close out the regular season.
Who are not eligible for CAA postseason.
They're not.
Because we're jumping up to a different conference next year. But either way, go Hens. Sorry.
Yeah,
UNC
big win.
Wilmington.
79-60 for UNC Wilmington yesterday.
Couple of big wins last night on women's basketball. I have a player from each to add to the Dean's List. Duke women's basketball beat UNC last night 68-53.
Rolled them.
Reagan Richardson, 23 points on 9 of 15 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3. That's an efficient 23 in a rivalry game. That's always going to feel nice. Also, NC State women's basketball beat Wake Forest 78-57 last night. Rolled them. I'm going Zoe Brooks here. And it's an efficiency thing. I'm learning that a lot about myself this year. I like an efficient scorer. Right? I'm much more 2025 than I am 2001, right? When Kobe and Iverson and all those guys could take 30 shots to get 33 points and we'd be like, they're awesome. I want somebody that's more analytically friendly because NC State beats Wake by a bunch. Isaiah James scored 21 points. Zoe Brooks scored 17. Why am I giving my Dean's List to Brooks over James? Well, James took 21 shots to get to 21 points. Brooks took 8 shots to get to 17 points. I like efficiency. Zoe Brooks with the efficient 17, working her way onto the Dean's List. But shout out to both Duke and NC State women's basketball for the wins. UNC, another really good team. They did get rolled a little bit last night, but the WNCAA tournament should be rife, should be chock full of not only ACC teams, but teams from right here in our backyard. There you go. That's the Dean's List. Class dismissed. We do have more college basketball to talk, specifically Duke versus Florida State and NC State versus Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech over the weekend. These two very, very programs, Duke and NC State, going in very, very opposite directions. But before we dive back into the basketball, there was a hockey game last night. The Whalers, a.k.a. Carolina Hurricanes, really did a number on Buffalo. And for the first time in a while, we have 2 minutes of gold with our very own Adam Gold. Here it is.
And Kotkaniemi comes out swinging. Cousins lands a punch, but give the decision to the Canes centerman. Cousins wants to get back up, but they're going to give him the decision. And yes, Barry Kotkaniemi's got Lenovo Center buzzing early.
I give Kotkaniemi an abundance of credit with where this hockey club is at.
There you go, Jesperi Kotkaniemi rocking Dylan Cousins to sleep. Get it? Sleep. That's right. Parkway Sleep Health Centers are the Triangle's top sleep provider. If it's not Jesperi Kotkaniemi, as the Hurricanes got their game off, the Whalers got their game started on the right note. Energy in the building. Thank you. And 2 minutes for all of that. Speaking of 2 minutes, Hurricanes scored a power play goal in less than 2 minutes. Holy mackerel. It was a good night for Finland. There were Finns everywhere. Sebastian Aho had a goal. Great pass from Mikko Rantanen after a turnover. Rantanen had a goal and an assist. Oh my gosh, are you telling me that Mikko Rantanen is allowed to produce points in a hockey game for the Hurricanes? Actually, it was for the Whalers. Maybe the Hurricanes should stick with those uniforms the rest of the season. Actually, I'm not even sure they physically could because it would be against the National Hockey League's rules. But here's the deal. The Hurricanes, in the first 10 minutes of the game, finally found a little offensive spark. Now, it didn't last the entire game because, frankly, the Hurricanes probably should have scored more than the 5 goals that they did, but they were great defensively. They finally got really good production out of Aho and Rantanen together. Andrei Svechnikov, by the way, with the pass of the night. A beautiful seam pass for Rantanen's power play goal. So that line looked pretty good, and Carolina was just stellar defensively throughout. Really good bounce-back game for Brent Burns. Amazingly enough, he's not a Finn, and he played well last night. So Burns had a good game. Jacob Slavin does his thing every single night. The Hurricanes didn't even need goaltender Pyotr Kochetkov to do anything serious. he was bored for most of the night. There were only 15 shots on goal from the Buffalo Sabres, a high-scoring team, so that speaks to Carolina's defensive acumen. The forecheck really worked. They got back to playing Hurricanes hockey. And maybe we have Jesperi Kotkaniemi to thank for it based on the start of the game. He played well otherwise. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health. Sound the alarms for a Hurricanes win.
Thank you very much to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold. You'll be receiving 2 minutes of gold a few times each show here on The Drive the day after Canes games for the foreseeable future. And I do appreciate those shout-outs. I think we need to positively reinforce that first line. The Aho, Rantanen, Svetch line. It was really fun to watch. I hope they keep it. So when it plays well, it's like, don't just yell and scream about lines you don't like. When there's one you do like out there, yell and scream about that too, so they keep it. So,
yeah, Rod said post-game, I didn't have to change anything up.
Beautiful.
I'm for that.
I like stability. I like guys getting comfortable next to each other. Aho, Rantanen, Svetch. Make the T-shirts. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll weave in some more Canes talk throughout the show, but right now, Duke, Florida State tomorrow. Speaking of shaking things up, right? It seems like Rod Brendamore's been doing a lot of that, right? Remember, Rantanen somehow for one game was skating with Roslovic as his center. They're going 12-6, 12 forward, 6 defensemen, then 11-7. They're mixing this up. They're mixing that up. John Shire should take a page out of that book. John Shire has a free pass to get weird with his rotations for a few games. And partially he has that free pass because they've been consistent. We know that Duke, as a basketball team, is really good with the rotation that we've grown very comfortable watching, right? When you have Proctor and Cooper Flagg and Con Knippel and Common Malawash and Malik Brown, and when you're at full and that's your main guys, and you mix in flamethrower Isaiah Evans off the bench, and you mix in shooter Mason Gillis off the bench, and you have these roles set. We know they're really good. They're like national championship contender level good. If things break their way a few times, every national champion needs a little luck. They could easily hoist the trophy. But right now, Malik Brown's hurt, right? He had the shoulder dislocation, and Tyrese Proctor is hurt. He had the knee bone contusion, bone bruise, whatever you call it. They're going to be out of action for a little bit. Both are expected back for the most important games of the season, later in the tournament, maybe later conference tournament, but NCAA tournament for sure. So with them being out of action for a little bit, get weird. And if it doesn't work, no harm, no foul, right? Go back to the old rotations when those guys get healthy. So think about it, right? You want Cooper Flagg playing point guard? You want him, or point forward? You want him initiating the offense, being a 6'9" guy with handles that can maybe ball handle on a pick and roll more often? If you want it, sure, try it. Why not? Against Florida State tomorrow, you want Con Knippel playing the 4? Right, he's a 6'7" wide-bodied kid. If you want him playing the power forward position next to Common Malawash, or even weirder, you want Cooper Flagg at the 5 and Common Malawash at the 4, go for it. You want to see Isaiah Evans, that flamethrower off the bench, get an extended run, or maybe even do something crazy like see if, even though they call him slim, if he can play bigger than his body weight and guard in the post. Could be entertaining for all of us. Give it a shot. Why not, right? Because you always have the fallback on, we know this works. And while this is unavailable due to injury, let's get crazy. Worst case, you go back to what you know works. Best case scenario, you develop some sweet off-speed pitches, right? You develop some real, let's throw them a curveball coming out of a timeout move.
Like going random 2-3 zone.
Which they've
done that.
Yeah.
Which they've done.
Surprised to even some players that were on the court when they did it.
Like, you want us to do what? Zone?
You're aware, right? 2-3. You played it when you were 8. Get on out there. Like, literally. Imagine if you learn that you have this, like, really unique, really interesting, super small ball 5 right? Everybody can shoot. Everybody can dribble. You're the tallest team in the country, essentially. And imagine if you have the quirky small ball 5. So everybody that's preparing for you is prepared for these giants, right? The 7'2" Malawash, 6'9" Flag, all of these just giants. And then, I don't know, there's a dead ball with like 20 seconds before immediate timeout, and you just roll out a whole bunch of guards, and you have Isaiah Evans guarding in the post, and it's just a weird changeup. With the added safety net of knowing if it doesn't work out, you don't have to force anything. Because you can always go back to the basketball team we've seen develop alongside each other, get better throughout the year. It's a weird silver lining. Right? I actually think sometimes coaches, they would never admit this, but like the true X's and O's guys, the true basketball nerds, hockey nerds, football nerds of coaches, the ones that have notebooks on top of notebooks of potential plays, I think they get their juices flowing a little bit when some guys are unavailable, especially if it's not the super serious injuries. They're just like, oh, I got to make it work. All right, let's see what I can do. Right? They start doing like the licking of their thumb when they're flicking through the playbook. Real excited stuff. From an actual gameplay, like a specific gameplay deal, Duke versus Florida State. Florida State is one of the few teams in the country that can go height for height with Duke. Right? They're tall.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken, they're both top 5 in the country as far as average height.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Duke is the more talented team, even without Proctor and Brown, and they should still win. But they do kind of lose that little crutch that they can fall on occasionally of just, hey, we're bigger than you, which they can against just about every other school. And there probably will be someone in the NCAA tournament run, maybe that doesn't have the height that you do at the guard position, but there'll be someone with 2 7-footers they trust, or there'll be someone with, a small forward that's 6'9" and lanky. Like, it's good to get that experience, and you can't always get it just because, if every team in college basketball had enough people 6'10" and above, they just don't exist on planet Earth. I don't know if it's still true. It used to be true that 17% of all 7-footers in America played at least 1 minute in the NBA. Like, there's just not that many of them. Yeah, I think that might be a dated statistic. But at one point in time, that was true. My youth basketball coach was 7'4". Played for the Trailblazers. His sons, both 7 foot something, they didn't make it. But they were gigantic when we were 12 playing basketball.
I bet.
They were my height when we were 8.
All right, guys. You guys know what to do. Throw it down low.
It was actually, we don't have to get all into it, but yes, it was kind of like that. One of them ended up playing on the Generals, the ones that play against the Globetrotters all over the place.
Oh, the Washington Generals?
Because a 7-footer is fun for people to watch get dunked on. But they're gigantic. And 17% of 7-footers at one point in time played in the NBA. Fun fact for you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The other game I want to touch on, State at Georgia Tech tomorrow. I'm calling this a time travel game. And what I mean by that is the present season, we said it, right? It was they had a must-win game earlier this week. They lost. Present season, I know they're not mathematically eliminated from the ACC tournament, but I'm calling the present season over.
For all intents and purposes, yes.
Even if everything breaks their way and they get in, I would expect it to be a quick trip to Charlotte. So get in, and I know last year was magical. Lightning rarely strikes twice. It's a time travel game because it's about two things. It's about last year and it's about next year. I do think there is some level of you can just fake good vibes by making sure you thank Michael O'Connell and Jaden Taylor and Ben Middlebrooks and the contributors from that magical run last year on the way out, right? This is the last time you're going to see Michael O'Connell in a NC State uniform, and he hit that shot against Virginia that gave so many such a fun month through the ACC and NCAA tournament. You can benefit on that. It's along the lines of I say the best way to hide a tank if you're a professional sports team tanking for a draft pick is behind a retirement tour. Like if you have an all-time legend and your team stinks, just make sure they're the last ones off the field waving to the crowd, and you'll walk off the field to applause, even if you are intentionally losing to get a high draft pick. State has not given their fans much to applaud about, But if you have Michael O'Connell and you play that Virginia shot on the Jumbotron, you'll get at least some golf claps. Like, all right. Ben Middlebrooks, 21 points, first game of the NCAA tournament last year. Like, that's a good memory. For everything else, it's about next year and beyond. Right? For players that still have eligibility, it's contract year. Every year is contract year in college basketball. But you're playing for your role. You're playing for NIL money. You're playing for, if you're going to hit the transfer portal, how much someone else is going to pay you or what type of other teams are interested in you. And coaches, you're playing for your future. Do you still have buy-in? I think that's actually a good sign of a good coach, is when things look horrendous, does the locker room still believe in you? Right? When you are, quote unquote, playing for pride, is there still all-out effort, or has the team tuned you out? Like, all of these things can be I don't want to say proven beyond a reasonable doubt or solidified in any direction, but these next couple of games here for NC State can be statements. They can be statements. Georgia Tech, on the road at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a weird team this year. We were looking up net rankings today. They have 3 quad 1 victories. Georgia Tech does. Nobody ranked below them, and they're like 100 and something in the net rankings. So none of the roughly 200 teams ranked lower than them in the net rankings have more than 1 quad 1 victory. That's absurd. Maybe a couple would, or actually, I'm pretty sure that's correct. I hear Dennis typing, so maybe he'll be able to confirm and tell me I'm wrong. But still, I know nobody below them has 3, so they can slay some Goliaths if they play their best, but they also are going to give up some dumb ones.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is 116th in net rankings.
With 3 quad 1 wins.
3 and 5 in quad 1. North Carolina's 1 and 10, by the way.
3 quad 1 wins is, like, there's not a ton of teams in college basketball. I mean, there's probably 50 of them, but not like, there's no also-rans. There's no bad teams with 3 quad 1 wins. So State is definitely not rolling into a team where the other team's just as checked out or just as falling behind the 8 ball. They've got some legitimate trophies on their wall.
It looks like no other team below them in the net rankings has even more than 1.
Yeah, that's what okay.
Yeah.
Set a fact. My brain went, wait a second, is that right? And it ended up being true. It's a good day on a Friday. I hate when I just trust the memory on that. I like to write down stats, so I'm not messing with you. But hey, they've 3 quad 1 wins. Nobody ranked below them. There's like 200 teams below them. Has even 2 quad 1 games. So they have a top level. Georgia Tech does. They just as often as they go super quality good, they go super quality bad. That's how you end up 116th with 3 quad 1 wins. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'll be watching. Please don't make me regret it. Wolfpack. We have football at 4 coming up next, where we'll touch on some Combine, which is going on, the NFL Combine storylines, and Hard Knocks is coming to the Triangle. Stick around.
Listen for the...
Oh, my goodness!
Check in for the...
Beautiful back cut and a 2-hand jam.
Don't miss the...
Race to the other end. Get ready for the show!
What was that?
A reverse pull-up! My goodness! Hubbard got hit, and he made the shot!
You're home for the Final Four from San Antonio.
Cooper got it to rattle home!
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time.
Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always Bo time.
Your heart. It's the only one you have. Fortunately, you also have a choice. Expert cardiologists, talented surgeons, highly skilled specialists, all of whom chose WakeMed. Why? The main reason is the same reason patients choose WakeMed. Everything you need for the best possible care is right here. Learn more at wakemed.org. WakeMed Heart and Vascular Physicians. Your heart, your choice.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just beginning on FanDuel. Again, America's #1 sports book, because FanDuel's your home for live NBA betting. So even if you miss the start of the game, you're not out of luck. However you want to play, now is the perfect time to join. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Go to FanDuel.com/AdamGold and join today. FanDuel.com/AdamGold for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A pleasant afternoon out there. Not as warm as yesterday, but we'll see a high in the low 60s under sunny skies. Mid-40s tonight, so it's cool but dry. And then tomorrow, quite warm. A high of 74 under mostly sunny skies. But a front comes through overnight. It'll be blustery, and it'll turn much colder for Sunday with highs only in the upper 40s.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb and Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 594 points to 43,833. Market update brought to you by Habitat for Humanity Restores. Habitat for Humanity Restores have a huge selection of high-quality building materials at a fraction of regular retail cost. Come shop and save on your next project. Find locations at trianglerestores.org.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. NFL Combine is going on as we speak. I don't know if everybody is excited about that as I am. Just know that Maxwell Hairston of Kentucky.
Him.
4.2940.
That's fast.
Topped out at 24.25 miles per hour.
Also very fast.
I mean, there are certain school zones you can't go that fast.
No. Some neighborhoods you can't even go that fast.
Here's what I think is interesting. I'm going to talk about the Combine for a second here, then we'll get to North Carolina Tar Heels being put on HBO's offseason Hard Knocks. Yesterday we had some fun with certain stuff at the Combine doesn't matter, right? We watched 330-pound defensive tackles run 40 yards in a straight line yesterday, and whoa, look at that. It's like, well, they literally will not do that probably their entire NFL career. We talked with Mike Glennon, former NC State quarterback, NFL quarterback, asked him what he remembered most about his trip through the Combine over a decade ago. He said that I didn't have a 40-yard dash that started with a 5, right? It was below 5 seconds. It was 4.94. I looked it up. His longest career rush, not even half 40 yards. And he only had 3 above 10 yards. So we kind of joked with, like, a lot of the stuff the Combine has doesn't matter. The Athletic did a breakdown. They used the advanced analytic estimated points added, right? So it's a metric of longevity and effectiveness during your NFL career. And they found the individual event at the Combine that most correlates to the highest career EPA for each offensive position.
Okay.
Fascinating.
All right. I'm curious.
What do you think for quarterback? There's the L drill, there's the three cone back and forth, there's the 40, there's the vert, there's bench, there's broad jump, there's all of these things. For quarterbacks, what do you think was most, I think the word is correlative, to success in the NFL?
Hand size.
Broad jump.
Really?
Broad jump.
Okay, strong base. Explode. Okay.
They basically said if you can jump, you can probably move quickly in the pocket.
Okay, makes sense.
With the biggest examples being Herbert and Jalen Hurts apparently had gigantic broad jumps. Running back.
Okay.
Running back had the most correlative, not even an event. It was weight and age.
Really?
Being relatively young and relatively heavy were more predictive than any Combine event.
Oh, okay.
So there's a certain 205 pounds or whatever it is. You just want to be above that, and you don't want to be 23, 24 years old. You want to be 21, 22. And that's the most obvious indicator that a running back will be successful.
So Omarion Hampton, pretty set.
He's below 22, and he is
220.
Yeah, and I would imagine his body weight or body fat percentage is 0.1. He is
maybe if that
built like a tank. Yeah, Omarion Hampton. I think he's playing his way into a first-round pick. Wide receiver, youth again the most correlative, but so just the younger you are, the better it is, which is fascinating.
Okay.
Right, the fact early declare kind of the most obvious indicator, but they also for this one added a reverse. Do you know what was the least indicative?
40.
Yep. If you were like the 419 guy, which obviously no one is, I would break the record, you were less likely to be successful in the NFL than if you were like a 4-4 guy. For tight end, it was 40-yard dash. So you got to be able to move to be a tight end, power, all that kind of stuff. For offensive tackle, you know what? We'll do this. I will Venmo you $5.
Oh.
If you can tell me the event that was most indicative of an offensive tackle having a long, productive NFL career.
Vertical.
40-yard dash.
Really? Not good enough for wide receivers, but an offensive tackle.
Most explosive runners tend to play the most snaps per season.
Interesting.
And a higher bench press has often meant fewer NFL snaps.
Interesting.
So you want like a middle-of-the-pack bench and a fast 40 for your offensive tackle.
It's not just stumpy brutes.
Exactly.
You're actually like athletes here.
Yeah, exactly. For tackle. I'm assuming guard, you stumpy brutes.
Yeah, maybe.
No disrespect, please. You don't want to upset the stumpy brutes.
No, I am one. I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't want to upset that group.
I represent that group.
So anyway, that's just a fun little deal there. So if you're a Panthers fan and you're like, hey, we need a wide receiver, maybe the Xavier Worthies, Isaiah Bonds are not what you're looking for. Instead, you're looking for a little bit more size. You're looking for more middle of the pack 40 time. And if I guess you're hoping Bryce Young is a broad jumper.
Yeah, I want to look that up. What's Bryce's broad jump?
I think you ready for my summary of it? I think probably how good of a football player they are matters more than all of it. Why don't you go watch them play the sport? There's a lot of tape out there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you want to watch UNC football, I got news for you. The Tar Heels are coming to Hard Knocks. Off-season Hard Knocks, which last year was the New York Giants. Today it was revealed UNC will be the HBO off-season Hard Knocks team, which is fascinating because UNC, Belichick, UNC, Michael Lombardi, UNC, the recruits that have committed, they've talked a big game. And what I mean by that is they're going to be innovative, right? They're going to be different. They're going to run it like an NFL team. They're the 33rd NFL team. It's not status quo. They're selling a dream of UNC being such a different beast in college football. Hard Knocks will, this will be the Maury episode right? Hard Knocks has shown you are an innovative college football program, or the results are in. Hard Knocks has shown you're doing the same stuff everybody else is doing. Are you really doing something that will prepare your team for the NFL in a different way? Are you really evaluating talent in a way that is more NFL evaluation than college evaluation? Are you really doing all of that? Because you can tell us, right? Talk is cheap. Hard Knocks will be an opportunity for you to show us. And if UNC does legitimately get that point across, that'll be an awesome, awesome thing for the future of North Carolina football. If you can genuinely let cameras into your building, mic up your players, mic up your coaches, mic up Bill Belichick and the other Belichicks. If you can mic up Julius Peppers in the facility, if you can truly make it look like your program is better at preparing NFL players or college players for the NFL, you cannot pay for that kind of advertising. Well, you could argue you did pay for it when you gave $10 million to Bill Belichick, but that's part of the hidden value in paying Bill Belichick $10 million. I want to say it was shortly after Deion Sanders signed his deal with Colorado. It was a big multi-million-dollar per year contract for Deion Sanders to be the head coach, Colorado Buffalo. And the athletic director at a press conference was asked, like, where are you coming up with this money? And he basically said, we have enough money for this year to pay him, and we are banking that because he's here, we're going to make the money to pay him in the future, right? He's going to actually be worth so much more than that next year we'll be able to pay him, and the year after, and that's our business plan. When you give $10 million a year to Bill Belichick, there's a lot of hidden value. One of them is, I guess, being on HBO once a week for an off season. If you wanted to be on HBO once a week and you didn't have Bill Belichick, you'd have to buy commercials or something. They don't even have commercials on HBO. You'd have to find some other way to be there, right? But because you have Belichick, because you have the spotlights pointed on you, people want to watch. So when, by the way, the only reason they're going to UNC, I know it's like the 33rd NFL team. It went so poorly for the Giants last year, where they showed all the conversations about letting Saquon Barkley walk, and they showed all the conversations about their draft, and they showed all of it, and it just made their GM look not great, Joe Shane.
Kind of backfired a little bit.
So nobody else in the NFL wanted to do it. So they had to get creative and pick a college team. I believe UNC was at or near the exact top of that list. That's part of the $10 million you give Belichick. If you who was the Tulane coach? That was one of the Summerall, I think his name was.
Yeah, Summerall.
That was one of the options to replace Mac Brown. I almost guarantee if you go get the Tulane coach to be your head coach, once all the NFL teams say no and HBO is looking around for the next team, the college team they want to put on off-season Hard Knocks, they're not calling the Tar Heels. But because you have Belichick, they do. That's part of it. So credit to him, and credit to Bill Belichick for being willing to open those doors to a documentary crew, because he's been notoriously short-lived. Notoriously. Not short-lived. Notoriously tight-lipped is the word I was going for. Short-lived wouldn't make sense. It's a Friday, everybody. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I bet for years Hard Knocks is probably one of the New England Patriots, but just could never get them on. So now it's like, hey, you know what? Let's approach Bill Belichick to get him on this way. And sure enough, it's your opportunity. But it's also added brand exposure for North Carolina. Because if I'm a basketball recruit and I also see that floating around, I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember like Hubert Davis and their GM Jim Tanner and all these other people contact me. And like you start to see a little bit of the inner workings of the program. If I'm Hubert Davis, I'm trying to find and sneak my way in there as much as possible.
I'm at every spring practice just watching.
Bringing recruits through the whole deal.
How about this for a possibility? Somebody right now talk to Bill Belichick into it. Say maybe Michael Lombardi, somebody that understands the NIL world, and Belichick agrees. And then sometime between now and when they start filming, Belichick goes back to his New England ways, and the entire offseason Hard Knocks is just Bill Belichick not saying anything and going, well, we're not going to show the cameras our play. What do you want to ask me questions? I'm not going to answer that. we're on to Cincinnati. And then it's just the most boring HBO offseason Hard Knocks of all time. It's just him going, and cameras can't come in here. They just get a lot of shots of like doors closing in their face. Possibly. Could be entertaining. Could be a meme. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We're going to take a break, but we have the ladder challenge coming up. It is my last chance. Did you win last night? It is my last chance to come from behind and seal the victory in February. I'm going to do my best. Coming up next.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
Whoa, it's you, the Capital One Bank guy.
That's what they call me.
Mind if I get a selfie?
Yeah, sure thing. Say no fees or minimums on your Capital One checking account.
Wow, that's a keeper. So, where are you heading?
I'm off to spread the good news that Capital One helps people keep more money in their wallet with no overdraft fees.
Oh, you're the best Capital One Bank guy.
Hey, mind if I get a selfie?
Sure.
Say, Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Patayo. And this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This is what breaking news on WREL sounds like.
A teenager accused of murder in custody tonight.
From the moments that matter.
Let's take a look at those live pictures right now from Sky 5.
When seconds count.
Authorities say they are very concerned for the safety of the public.
When your safety is the priority.
Breaking news right now, a large fire in eastern Wake County. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
Watch WREL News. Breaking news coverage you can count on.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Rantanen shot, he scores! Mikko Rantanen feeling right at home here on Whalers night.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Elliot Friedman, who I really enjoy his 32 Thoughts kind of franchise, if you will. Simply because I think we're all just craving like the reality television element of professional sports. So hearing the I think the kids call it the tea, the hot goss from around the NHL is always fun for me. And you know, right, 32 just makes a lot of sense with 32 teams. I wouldn't hate if like Adam Schefter wanted to do a 32 Thoughts, right? Let's make this let's expand the 32 Thoughts universe. Jeff Passan, do it for baseball. Let's make it happen. Shams, what are you doing? Make it NBA. But still, Elliot Friedman put out his 32 thoughts, and he knows where all the eyes are pointed. They're pointed at the Canes. They're pointed at Mikko Rantanen, and we will break that down in a little bit. But first, I have one more chance to steal a victory for the month of February from the jaws of defeat in the ladder challenge. Dennis, you have the lead, so give us your breakdown of what happened and what's going to happen.
So last night I went to the old tried and true, went to the NHL, did over 3.5 goals scored between the Washington Capitals last night. And, let's just say that hit. That one hit last night. So I'm actually up to – actually, yes, Washington Capitals versus St. Louis Blues. I needed over 3.5 goals at minus 750. They scored 7, so I'm up to $40.50, Tim. And guess where I'm going to go tonight? That's right. You guessed it, right back to the NHL.
I was going to say NHL, it's either shots on goal or a teased total.
Give me – you know what? Actually, I need to play this one safe. I have not made a pick on this one yet. Give me the Minnesota Wild and the Colorado Avalanche. They played tonight, two of the best teams in the league. Give me over 3.5 goals. That's a minus 750. So that $40.50 will turn into a nice, solid $45.90.
All right, so I'm going to need that to lose, and I'm going to need to get right tonight.
Yep, simple as that.
It's my only hope. It's the last one of the month. We do this monthly. So on Monday, I will either have that be a loss, and I'll hopefully have the trophy, or it will not be a loss, and then I'll have to pass the trophy on to Dennis.
Trophy's coming home, baby.
Last night, I did have Luka Doncic, 35-plus points, plus rebounds, plus assists versus Minnesota. It was more of a sweat than I wanted to, but it did hit over by just a couple. Brought me up to $16.18. This weekend, I'm going back. Luka, 25-plus points, plus rebounds only. Didn't love the numbers on the points, plus rebounds, plus assists. That's versus the Clippers. It's minus 1,000. I like that when you escape a bet, now I get to benefit from the adjustment. Like, he should have had significantly more yesterday. Didn't play that well. So now he's going to make sure he adjusts and have a better game the next game. I hit the win. I'll hit it by more this time. It'll bring me up to $17.79, which obviously, if Dennis loses, will be enough to give me an ugly win. I don't care if I win ugly. I just care that I win. So hope I have a chance at it. Be a legendary buzzer beater if it happens. That's the ladder challenge here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Let's jump into those 32 thoughts from Elliot Friedman. You know that the eyes of the league are on your team when the first 3 or 4 of the 32 thoughts are all about the negotiation that's happening between one of your players and you. And then when you keep scrolling, there's another about Slavin. So it's the eyes are on the Canes. Everybody is interested on what will happen in the Mikko Rantanen negotiations. Obviously, a week from today, if I'm not mistaken, a week from today is the trade deadline.
That's right, 4:00 next week on Friday.
There is a certain portion of the NHL fandom that believe if the Canes do not have a long-term extension with Mikko Rantanen by next Friday, they will seriously consider and maybe even go out of their way to make it happen, a trade that sends Mikko Rantanen elsewhere. That portion of the internet, I believe, is putting way too much stock into the Jake Gensel fear that like the Canes are so terrified of what happened with Jake Gensel that they will do any and everything to not let it happen again. I don't believe that's the case. However, it does make the next week very interesting, because you're going to hear a lot of rumors about the Rantanen negotiation. Let's hear from Friedman, shall we? Some of the 32 thoughts. I have them in front of me. I will read you the bullet points, and then we will react. Friedman agrees with us, okay? This is part of it. Starting now. In addition to his shock at the trade, when the Hurricanes play Edmonton and Calgary back-to-back this weekend, it will be the first time since Rantanen was dealt they've played 3 in a row at home. That's not much time to get acquainted to your new surroundings. You don't even have time for a good steak at Sullivan's. Hard to make a life-altering decision in a whirlwind. End of the quote. This is what we've been saying, everybody. This is just a national media person having the logic and sense and common sense that a lot of the local media has had involving Mikko Rantanen. As soon as the trade happened, the hope was that like a day later they would announce that Mikko Rantanen signed an 8-year deal and he's not going anywhere. That was always unrealistic, right? And the fact that, we haven't heard that he's in love with Raleigh. We haven't heard that he wants to build a house in Cary. We haven't heard. I'm going like, when did you want him to make those decisions?
It's like, well, he hasn't even gotten here yet.
The way I described it was his mind has been in a blender from the moment that trade happened. The moment that trade happened. And not just like the Canes side of things. It's not just, he showed up and then everybody got sick. They had the flu the virus run through the locker room. And then he had to go to Four Nations. And then they were shifting up lines. And then this guy was hurt. And then that was happening. It's not just that. It's also he had to deal with like a breakup, right? He was a key member of a Stanley Cup winning team for Colorado. He was there a decade in the league, and they traded him away. That's going to mess with you. That's going to put your brain in a blender. And then on top of that, it's been go, 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 go. And you just heard the schedule from Friedman there. They haven't played 3 games at home yet consecutively. And by the way, this isn't, 3 games at home consecutively for the Canes. Way to go. It's 3 in 4 days. Like, that's not even like a real chill homestand. That's a go, 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 go homestand.
It's not like, hey, let's go check out the Museum of Art. Let's go walk around a little bit.
There's no like, hey, Sebastian, where's your favorite place to eat? We should try it out. Like, there's none of that. It's, can I get carbs in my body so I can have fuel for the next game? That's all it is. So if you don't hear, they've made a bunch of progress towards a contract by next Friday, it might not be because there's not progress to be made. It might be because they literally have not had an opportunity to make progress. Correct me if I'm wrong on this, and my wife will tell you this happens, right? Sometimes she wants to have a conversation about something we need to do or something that needs to get done, I don't know, whatever, something important. And if I just had a day where, like, Frank Reich was fired, or if I just had a day where Bill Belichick, the rumor was becoming real, like when you had, or a game, the Canes went to double overtime the night before, and I was up till 2 a.m., like, there's times where it's like, you know what? I know this is a conversation we need to have. I know it's important. I don't have the brain capacity right now, right? I'm exhausted and I want to have full attention on it. And she understands, and we find a time where we can do it. There's a good chance like Eric Tolsky is calling up the agent for Mikko Rantanen, and the agent's going, listen, I haven't had a real conversation with Mikko. He's been physically and mentally exhausted, and I don't want to force him to make a life-altering, gigantic decision while his gas tank's on empty. So let's find a time in the future, and it might not be before the trade deadline, but let's find a time in the future where we can really sit in and talk about this, because it's a conversation that needs to happen. It's a conversation that's important, and we don't want to half-heartedly have it. Friedman had more on his 32 thoughts. Friedman said, remember, if Rantanen is on the Carolina roster post-deadline, so that means they don't trade him, they are the only team that can sign him to an 8-year deal. We've talked about the importance of that. If I had a good team, this is now from Friedman, if I had a good team, I'd always go for the cup and let free agency fall where it may. That could be the Hurricanes' path if there's no certainty by next Friday. The Stanley Cup is forever. I like bold, and that's bold. Here's the thing. The Canes, until last night, and let's be real, last night's against Buffalo. It's not exactly playing against the best cup contender in the league. But until last night, they hadn't looked like a Stanley Cup legit, superpower since Mikko Rantanen got there. That does not mean that anyone in that building looks around and can't easily say, we have enough talent to win a cup. If you trade away Mikko Rantanen and get back picks or young prospects that may or may not be ready or guys that need to develop, you are kind of passing on a chance to go for it this year. Even if he leaves, right? Let's say he goes full Gensel. And then we'll have, do you have the jackwagon clip? We can say all those things about Mikko this offseason if he goes full Gensel. Go ahead and play it. All right, and take your time. He'll bring it to you, and some of you already know where I'm going with it. But I still...
Jake Gensel
there
is
it
just a jackwagon.
That's from one of our listeners. Love it. Play it again.
Jake Gensel is just a jackwagon.
If he goes full Gensel, we can have those conversations. But also, I'm not giving up a run this postseason for anything. I'd have to have my socks so unbelievably knocked off in a trade possibility to even make me consider it. Because I want to see the Canes push their chips into the middle. I don't want to see them protect solid. Don't get on that treadmill of mediocrity where you're always good enough to make the postseason, never enough to win the cup. Take the big swings. Even if he leaves, I will respect the all-in nature of going for it.
Yeah, you just don't freely give up talent at the deadline just because, well, he might not re-sign, so let's, out of fear, let's make that move. You don't do that. Here's the thing. The trade deadline is the trade deadline, not the deadline to sign your current player to an extension.
And you know what else
that doesn't happen until July 1st.
Like the NHL, professional sports, it's high-stakes poker, right? If you're afraid to have your chips in the middle of the table, if you're afraid to take risks, you're not going to win. You're not going to. You have to be comfortable taking the big swing. Last one from Friedman on Mikko Rantanen. He says, do the math. If you think the best Rantanen can do on the open market is 7 years, $14 million, that's $98 million. I don't believe the Hurricanes are at $14 million or close to it. Again, according to this is all Friedman. My sense is slightly over $100 million, and we'll see if there's any need to adjust. So basically saying because they have the eighth year, they can guarantee him more money without going to $14 million a year. If he just wants to absolutely lock in the most possible cash, the most anyone else can offer him is $98 million if that $14 million per year is a ceiling. And I don't see anybody going above $14 million a year.
You never know.
They might.
Cap going up.
But the Canes can go lower average per year and still hit a larger total guarantee. That's the point there because of that 8th year. Here's my take on that. If the difference between yes and no from Mikko Rantanen is something like $4 or $5 million spread out over 8 years, get to the yes fast. I think that's, to me, the biggest and really only mistake they made in the Jake Gensel thing last year is they eventually got to his asking price, but by that point it was late. The deadline was beaten down their door. I think attitude matters in these cases. And I'm trying to, it's not decorum. I don't know what the word is. Attitude might not even fit perfectly, but like a reluctant offer to a free agent doesn't feel as comforting as an enthusiastic offer. Like, fine, we'll give you what you ask is different than, let's make this happen. What is it going to take to get it done? Like, what do you want? We want to build around you, and we want you to feel loved. Is different than, goodness gracious, you swear you won't take $1 less. Like, that's just a different way your actions can communicate almost non-verbally to your player. That's why, and I have a hard time with this because, like, Jerry Jones does it a lot. The Bengals are doing it right now. The Bengals came out at the Combine and said, we are going to make Jamar Chase the highest paid non-quarterback in the history of the NFL. And I was like, geez, give away your leverage a little bit, why don't you?
Seriously.
But at the same time, I'm like, that probably makes Jamar Chase like you more, right? That probably makes the negotiations warmer. If you know you're willing to go up to a certain number, make you be the one that says it, right? Like, make you be the one that initiates it, because it's I know that we think of sports in this fantasy sports world, like fantasy football, fantasy hockey, fantasy basketball, where it's just people and names and numbers on a screen. For Eric Tolsky and the Canes and every other team in the NHL, they're real people, right? You're not making an offer to a computer that's going to go beep, boop, pop, boop, and send back yes or no. You're making an offer to a human. So how you present it matters. If you figure out we want to give you 13.3 per year over 8 years, and somehow you learn through the agent or otherwise that 13.6 per year will get it done over 8, do it quickly. That'll get it done. We can print up the contract. You can sign it right now. We can start telling our fans that we have Mikko Rantanen for the next 8 years. All it's going to take is another $4 million spread out over 8 years, $500,000 a year. I am excited to do that, Mikko, rather than with Gensel, which was like, well, free agency opens on, what was it, Thursday? It's Tuesday. Fine. At least that's the way many of the reports said it went.
Yeah, Carolina was also in a much tougher cap situation going into last offseason negotiations. Some things were a little bit tighter. Going into next year, they have $38.7 million in cap space.
And that is, I mean, Eric Tolsky, as soon as they traded for Mikko Rantanen and was on his little media tour, he said that a bunch of times.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, we have the money. We don't have to wait.
Which, even that gives you the opportunity to be enthusiastic about signing your guy. Like, I mean, just think about it. Again, I try to say, put yourself in Mikko's shoes. What's better? Them approaching you with, what is it going to take to get done? I'm fired up to make you a Cane for life. I want you to retire here. Versus, that's what it's going to take. All right. Let me try to move some things around, see if we can get it done. Like it's. And I'm not actually saying like those words are used. That would be ridiculous. If you're on the phone with a player, like, I don't know, man. But actions, right? The timeline of it all kind of can communicate those different messages. Speaking of the Canes, this weekend is going to be a weekend full of hockey. So let's transition and talk about the hockey. The reality television away from the ice, that's fun. But also, I don't know if there's more fun for a Canes fan than a game like last night where you start with a fight, win the fight, start with going up, what was it, 3-0, and then getting the ceiling empty netter from a crowd favorite. It's about as fun as you get. So here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, let's talk about the two games this weekend. The Canes should be very much looking forward to the back-to-back this weekend. If you don't get up, meaning energy, excitement, anticipation, to play Edmonton at home, I can't help you. If you don't, as a hockey fan, hockey player, and all the NHL players, I assume, started as fans, right? You start buying the jersey, and then they start making your own, right? You're wearing your heroes' jerseys. Now some kid's wearing yours. If you don't get up to play Connor McDavid and Edmonton, you don't have a pulse, right? You can argue matchups like that are why you play the game. You could argue matchups like that are why you take the swing for Rantanen, because now you have some firepower, point production, scoring, goal scoring, to match up with a McDavid and a Draisaitl. And it's no longer your defense has to be so good that you're going to try to win a pitcher's duel against the Edmonton Oilers. You still want to not give up a lot, don't get me wrong, but you have some firepower to fight back. That game is light your hair on fire, let's go play hockey. You shouldn't need. It's a home game, so lean on it if you need to. Right? But you shouldn't need artificial juice. You shouldn't need the fans to get you pumped up. You should show up ready to rock. And then the other side, you play Calgary on Sunday, right? So Calgary on the second half of a home back-to-back is a nice matchup, but that becomes that's when you lean on your fans. That's when you might look to Kotkaniemi and be like, hey, man, got any more of that secret stuff? Right? Like the Space Jam Michael Jordan. Hey,
just water, guys.
I just punched him in the face, guys. That's Kotkaniemi. All I did was punch him in the face. Yeah, we'll do it again. Like that Calgary second half of a back-to-back. I like those games also because you kind of have to find it within yourself to go, tired, legs heavy. You got to find it within yourself to go fight and find a way to win. Right? Calgary's not nearly as scary in a lot of ways as Edmonton, but they're good enough to test your mettle on the night 2 of a back-to-back. The fan base can help you out.
And here's the thing. The Flames play in Florida against the Panthers tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock, and they got to fly up afterwards. I mean, they're on the second game of a back-to-back on the road, too.
Yeah.
And they played Tampa Bay last night.
You think you're tired? Look at them, right? The moment in every sports movie. Mm-hmm. Look at them. Their hands are on their knees. We're not tired. It's mental. I want to see the Canes not only build off of last night, but they're going to start getting more cohesive. What have we heard about Canes culture a billion times, right? The longer you're in it, the longer you're in that locker room, the more it all, the 5 fingers start becoming a fist. And it's time for that to start happening. And a back-to-back against Edmonton and Calgary is just, I think, a really, really fun way to test it. Really, really fun way to test it. And, if you need it, Kotkaniemi can go punch someone in the face. Here's Mikko Rantanen talking about KK setting the tone with the fight.
Obviously, good job by KK to start the game and bury the guy there, so it gave us a lot of energy, and the building was rocking after that for a while, and then just makes the game a lot easier when you score the first goal, and if you can get 3 of the first, it's easier to play with the lead than always chase the games, which we've been doing lately, so we got to take a recipe out of that and try to repeat it.
Obviously, if you get to choose, you're always going to choose hot start, but I think one of the next, you keep building, one of the next stages is I want to see the Canes go down 1-0 and not have it turn into 4-0. You know what I mean? Go down 1-0 and not have it turn into a 3-1 deficit. Just do the Canes thing where you keep punching and, all the body blows in the first period turn into a third period where you fly back. Rod Brindamore talking about the Canes' identity, which a lot of what I just said has been a part of their identity for a long time.
Tonight we were, like I say, especially early, and that was the key. I mean, you look at a couple of goals we got, there was direct, relation to that, where you're just on top of them and they turn it over a couple times, and then you got to make them pay at that point. And that's kind of what happened. But everyone's trying to play the same game, and you just got to get to it.
Correct me if I'm wrong on this, Dennis, but I think again last night it's Buffalo, and you don't want to for all of me saying everybody take a breath, everybody relax after a week of bad games. I should still say everybody one game that's good, you should still stay level-headed regardless.
Yeah, you got to follow it up.
But
can't just be one good day.
But that game, it was a good hybrid, right? Because you had the firepower of the first line. You had Aho, Rantanen, and Svech getting their 4 points. You had multiple goals. You had that offensive juggernaut. But what did they give up? 15 shots on goal?
Yeah.
That's Canes as Canes can get.
Yep.
That's Rod Brindamore's system. That's exhaustive defense. That's as Canes can get. So there is a happy medium there if you can thread it, where you can bring more look at me offensive firepower, and you can have the we before me, team first, team always defense that the Canes are known for, and you can have your cake and eat it too if you play like you did last night.
That's exactly what last night was. I mean, Aho's goal was, again, a turnover calls behind the net. It's Rantanen finds Aho. Jordan Stahl, turnover that was calls in the offensive zone, right in front of the net. Same thing with Taylor Hall's goal. Offensive zone turnover that you forced ends up goal right there in front of the net. Again, and then the skill we saw showed on the power play on Rantanen's shot. Again, and then we saw the defensive play just one-on-one. Seth Jarvis just making a play one-on-one against a guy and gets the empty netter. That was Canes hockey with the talent infused into it.
Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what we've been talking about so much. Everyone wants to be, should Mikko learn to play the Canes style, or should the Canes learn to play Mikko's style? The answer is somewhere in the middle. They both got to move a little bit towards the middle, and then you can have nights like last night where the hybrid works. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have real, bold predictions coming up. But first, Dennis Cox has something for you.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. Folks, I know you've been hearing me talk about it, but I want to make sure you all know that time is actually running out. You need to go to caniacsbike.com. You have to go to caniacsbike.com. And the reason why is because I need you to enter in for your chance to win a custom Caniacs motorcycle. Because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes, they've all teamed up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. And the reason this bike is actually special this year, as opposed to years past, is it is an actual custom build. In the past, it was a bike that was custom painted, had some custom features to it, but this is a full-on custom-built motorcycle. White wall tires, custom painted in Canes colors, logos, decals, and everything on it. It's an absolutely gorgeous bike, and it can be yours. You just got to enter to win. Go to caniacsbike.com. Time is running out, folks. We're about to hit March. April 6th is the deadline to enter. Bike's going to be given away on the last game of the year right there on the ice, and that could be you standing there with the keys handed to you. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
As I said, we have real, bold predictions coming up next here on The Drive. Don't go anywhere. It's Heart Month. I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'm joined by Dr. Andrew Sampson of Wake Med Heart and Vascular. Doctor, how are heart murmurs treated? And if untreated, what additional issues can be expected?
So not all heart murmurs require treatment. There are so-called innocent murmurs that are not going to have any effect on your health at all. Of the ones that do, often they require fixing of a heart valve or a structural issue within the heart. And that can be done using either traditional open heart surgery or a catheter-based approach, minimally invasive. If left untreated, valvular heart disease can result in heart failure, which it typically manifests as shortness of breath, lightheadedness, swelling, fatigue, just feeling lousy in general.
Definitely want to avoid getting heart failure. Thank you, Dr. Sampson. We appreciate the information. If you have any questions about heart murmurs or heart failure, visit wakemed.org. That's wakemed.org.
Move your sports day forward.
So understand in the job interview with Dave Canales, he loves a good backstory. So if you want to be his friend, get this. If he asks you the sky is blue, tell him it's blue, but it's Carolina blue. And it was the blue sky that you saw when you were flying kites with your aunt after your favorite goldfish died. There you go. Top 10 pick.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep, $149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. What? They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. $149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. College basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season, and right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 extra bucks to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there is no better time. The app is super easy to use, and when you win, you will get paid instantly. Visit FanDuel.com/Paul. Again, FanDuel.com/Paul, Paul, and get in on the college hoops action before March takes over. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This hour of The Drive brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
Byram loses it up front. Oh, he scores! I'll cue the band again. And the Finns combined on this one. It's 2-0 Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Friday. Friday means a whole bunch of things, right? It means the weekend's staring us in the face. It means we have a awesome weekend of sports to watch. The combine's going on. It also means real, bold predictions. The only place in sports media with a checks and balances system to make sure that our bold predictions are in fact bold. We use what we call the bold enough bell and the not bold enough buzzer. If you get a buzzer, you have to keep making it bolder on the spot until you get the bell. You'll catch on. We'll start with the basketball, then we'll come back to the hockey. We just done a lot of hockey talk. NC State at Georgia Tech tomorrow. You ready for this? This might be as bold as I'm willing to get. So if I get a buzzer, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
NC State's going to win.
I had a feeling that was going to be. I'm like...
There's not a lot of places that have set lines on it, but I saw 9.5. Georgia Tech favored against State. State always catches us off guard, right? As soon as you're ready to completely bail, that's when they play the best basketball they play of the year. And then as soon as you believe, they go and drop an absolute clunker. So I think most of the fan base is kind of out, which means they're going to win by a bunch against a team that they shouldn't win. UNC versus Miami on Saturday. I'm going Jalen Withers 2 or more threes. I'll go Jalen Withers 3 or more threes. 4 or more threes? I believe that'd be his career high, or at least his season high.
Yeah, he hit 4 the other day, and against Miami, they stink.
So I think I'm gonna go career high 5 or more threes for Jalen Withers.
Let's go.
Maybe I'll just make this all about career highs. Same game, Drake Powell, career high in points.
Which would be?
18. I went and looked up what some of the other teams, or I remember from my notes, what some of the other teams in the Triangle have done against Miami. Canales lit up for Duke, lit up Miami in the 2 games they played. I think Powell, while a different player, similar role, right? Kind of bigger perimeter / can be creative, get into the bucket, where Canales might use angles and strength. Drake Powell might just jump over you, but I think he can do some damage against Miami in that same kind of role. Speaking of Duke versus Florida State on Saturday. We're doing real bold predictions here. I'm gonna go I'm gonna keep it career highs. I'll go Cooper Flagg, career high in assists.
Which would be how many?
8.
Against Florida State? Yeah, I'll go with that.
No Tyrese Proctor. I think the ball's going to be in Cooper's hands a lot more as a creator and initiator. When usually he gets the ball, until he gets double teamed, he's looking to score. I think they're going to ask him to do a little bit more creating for others, setting up others, thus leading to an 8-assist day or more. I don't know what Common Malawash's career high in points is, but I'll go 15 or more for Common Malawash against Florida State. Florida State's tall.
That's the one thing.
This is kind of going against the grain. I'm going with Malawash accepts the challenge of I'm 7'2", we're playing the tallest team we're going to face all year. Watch what I like. I'm not just productive against guys that are way shorter than me. I am also productive against teams that are known for their size as well. So 15 plus. Again, I don't know what his career high would be. I kind of pivoted to that theme late here in real bold predictions. Are you ready for the Canes element? We have 2 Canes games. I have some Canes predictions. We'll switch to hockey. We'll start with the Edmonton game Saturday. Rantanen, another multi-point night. He back-to-back him, gets a little 2. We'll go 3 points, 3 or more. I guess that's also a good way to know it's bold when I'm like, I actually don't like this one. I was too comfortable with a multi-point night there, which probably meant it wasn't bold enough. Now let's go reverse. Rantanen gets 3 or more. How about this? The Carolina Hurricanes defenseman, along with Sebastian Aho taking on the personal challenge, McDavid, 0 points. How about it? Back me up, Aho. Take the personal challenge.
That's something people don't realize, is that anytime Carolina plays Edmonton, when McDavid's on the ice, Sebastian Aho's on the ice with them. Not Stahl. It's Aho.
It's a different. It's a cool beast.
And sometimes Aho can play great in these games against Edmonton and not have a point, but be stout defensively and win faceoffs, all those things. Against Connor McDavid.
And for that bold prediction to come true, he's going to have to do just.
Yeah, he's going to have to do that.
He's going to have to do just that. Let's go to the Calgary game on Sunday. Ready? Aho, I'll go multi-point night against Calgary on Sunday. Because I think after chasing around McDavid he's like, oh, this is so much easier. I can just go score goals. Watch this. That other guy's
not exhausted.
Hey, he probably will be. Just park himself in front of the net, maybe. This is just because I hope it happens. Pyotr Kochetkov, shutout, Calgary, Sunday. I think he'll be in net. Yeah, he will be, right?
That makes sense.
Got my days lined up. I also have one or two more here from the NFL Combine. Right? We hit basketball, we hit hockey, it's a little off-season football. I'm going Omari and Hampton under 4.4. He goes 4.39 or better.
For his 40 time?
For his bench.
Yeah, I know. Now his 5 cone. Is 5.10.5.
Yeah, there you go.
4.3. Yeah, I mean for him at that size
or under.
4.49?
4.39 or under.
4.39. Yeah, 4.39. I think that's bold.
He hit the GPS way up there this year. Like 21.6 in game is flying. 0.1 behind Genty, and Genty's not running. Last one. Ready? So let's say Omari and Hampton runs a 4.39. Let's say some of these other guys get going fast. Do you know who's, according to my bold prediction, going to be the fastest running back at the Combine?
Who?
The Delaware Blue Hens' very own Marcus Yarns, baby. Boom. How is that? You're telling
I just had to do it. I had to do it.
The FCS guy there with all these blue blood, blue chip, superstar, Power 5 guys. Marcus Yarns, fastest 40.
Had to do it.
I actually don't know if he's that fast. I know he had a bunch of big plays, but I'm backing my guy. They did ask him to also work out at wide receiver, so I don't even know. This is a weird move. I just saw that on Twitter today. Marcus Yarns. I'm all the way in. That's it for Real Bold Predictions. Thank you to Dennis for running the checks and balances system over there.
That's why I'm here.
Quickly, if you want to win some tickets, text keyword music to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Pantera and Eamon Amarth. I haven't gotten better at saying that this entire time. Eamon Amarth at Coastal Credit Union Music Park this September. If you want to see the tickets, if you want to see Pantera, you want to win the tickets, we have a pair of tickets going to someone out there. You just have to text in music, M-U-S-I-C, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win. Again, the concert is in September. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. We are always putting out content, Canes related. I mean, everything we just did, football related, basketball related, all kinds of stuff. It's all up there. And also not just our show, not just Adam Gold's show, which airs before this one, but also there's podcasts, there's special YouTube content. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff there. So subscribe, like, pass it along to your friends, share, jump in the comments. I'm a little disappointed in sports media elsewhere. Apparently, a lot of places don't leave the comments open. They don't make it available.
Yeah.
So
we've had multiple people say that on multiple videos. Hey, I'm happy that you have the comment section open.
I guess that's to protect them from any kind of disagreement with people that listen. We encourage that. If you disagree, let us know. We try to respond to the best disagreements and the best agreements, like best comments in general, on air occasionally. So head to the comment page. We will leave them open. You can be as nice or as mean as you'd like. And we encourage all forms of feedback from our listeners. So that's 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Looking forward to hearing from many of you. I'm also looking forward to the Starting Five, which is coming up next, brought to you by Richie Law, RichieLaw.com. Starting Five next.
Caniacs, get ready for Iced Tea, a brand new podcast that gives you the behind-the-scenes stories from the Carolina Hurricanes. You watch the game back?
Yeah, all the time.
And are you hard on yourself?
Oh, God, yeah.
Any of the players ask for their crust off?
We do have one player that I cut the crust off, and I individually wrap it for him.
Your name is on the Stanley Cup.
It's the best trophy in sports.
Follow Iced Tea with Megan LaMontagne in any podcast app or watch the show on YouTube.
At Wells Fargo, we know what got you into your business. Whether it's manufacturing, running a restaurant, or your business from home. What you didn't get into your business for was banking. But luckily, Wells Fargo offers business checking, payments, and lending all in one place, in your neighborhood and on our app, so you can focus on doing what you love. Wells Fargo, you're good at business, we're good at business banking. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/business. Terms apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Jackson Hewitt wants you to save money on tax prep. We're saving money by having our intern rap in this commercial.
Don't stress, Jackson Hewitt's got expert tax prep 149 or less. Yo, some tax guys lie about price. They got hidden fees, that ain't nice. Ain't nice. Don't ignore MC Kevin's rhyme, cause this deal's for a limited time. 149.
For tax prep that's $149 or less, hurry into Jackson Hewitt today.
No cap.
Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. It's a little cooler for your Friday evening. Otherwise, clear skies, a low of 44 tonight. Bouncing back into the low to mid 70s Saturday. It's partly cloudy and blustery ahead of a cold front. Sunday, mostly sunny, but much cooler with a high of 48.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones at the closing bell this afternoon, up 601 points to 43,840.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. 5 o'clock on a Friday. What's going on, everybody? Congratulations. Assuming that you work a traditional 9 to 5, it's the weekend, baby.
Let's go.
Starting five brought to you by Ritchie Law. Injured? Ritchie Law's on top of it. RitchieLaw.com. That's RICCI Law.com. The starting five, as always, starts with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Drop for Roslovic. He tries to drop it back. Power gets there. Walker keeps it in. Loose puck out in front. The score! Hall from Roslovic. Oh, what a pass. Jack Roslovic and Taylor Hall's first goal as a Carolina Hurricane. Cue the band. It's 4-1.
We probably didn't talk about that enough. Taylor Hall got his first goal as a Carolina Hurricane, or you could argue he's still waiting on his first goal as a Carolina Hurricane.
See, there it is.
He got his first goal as a Whaler last night. I saw somebody that said Mikko Rantanen wore his 4th sweater of the year because he's now Avalanche, Canes, Finland, Whalers.
That's a good point.
In the last month. The Whalers smoked Buffalo last night. To give you more details on it, here is 2 minutes of gold with our very own Adam Gold.
And Kotkaniemi comes out swinging. Cousins lands a punch, but give the decision to the Canes centerman. Cousins wants to get back up, but they're going to give him the decision. And yes, Barry Kotkaniemi's got Lenovo center buzzing early.
I give Kotkaniemi an abundance of credit with where this hockey club is at.
There you go, Jesperi Kotkaniemi rocking Dylan Cousins to sleep. Get it? Sleep. That's right. Parkway Sleep Health Centers are the Triangle's top sleep provider. If it's not Jesperi Kotkaniemi, as the Hurricanes got their game off, the Whalers got their game started on the right note. Energy in the building. Thank you. And 2 minutes for all of that. Speaking of 2 minutes, Hurricanes scored a power play goal in less than 2 minutes. Holy mackerel. It was a good night for Finland. There were Finns everywhere. Sebastian Aho had a goal. Great pass from Mikko Rantanen after a turnover. Rantanen had a goal and an assist. Oh my gosh, are you telling me that Mikko Rantanen is allowed to produce points in a hockey game for the Hurricanes? Actually, it was for the Whalers. Maybe the Hurricanes should stick with those uniforms the rest of the season. Actually, I'm not even sure they physically could because it would be against the National Hockey League's rules. But here's the deal. The Hurricanes, in the first 10 minutes of the game, finally found a little offensive spark. Now, it didn't last the entire game because, frankly, the Hurricanes probably should have scored more than the 5 goals that they did, but they were great defensively. They finally got really good production out of Aho and Rantanen together. Andrei Svechnikov, by the way, with the pass of the night. A beautiful seam pass for Rantanen's power play goal. So that line looked pretty good, and Carolina was just stellar defensively throughout. Really good bounce-back game for Brent Burns. Amazingly enough, he's not a Finn, and he played well last night. So Burns had a good game. Jacob Slavin does his thing every single night. The Hurricanes didn't even need goaltender Pyotr Kochetkov to do anything serious. He was bored for most of the night. There were only 15 shots on goal from the Buffalo Sabres, a high-scoring team, so that speaks to Carolina's defensive acumen. The forecheck really worked. They got back to playing Hurricanes hockey, and maybe we have Jesperi Kotkaniemi to thank for it based on the start of the game. He played well otherwise. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health. Sound the alarms for a Hurricanes win.
Thank you to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold about the Canes win last night over Buffalo. I do want to made the joke about him first goal. Taylor Hall scoring is big for the Canes. He's somebody that obviously when the trade happened and Mikko Rantanen was on the way to Carolina, it kind of became, and also Taylor Hall. He's a guy with, not only hockey, he's a former MVP, first of all. I just call it, put some respect on his name. But also if he can become a guy, right, that we talk about it in the postseason, right? You never know when you're going to need a Game 6 goal. He doesn't have to score 30 goals, but if he gives you the 2 that matter, that can be enough. And he's a guy that has been there before. He's done it all in every situation. He's been the guy. He's been somebody trying to fill a role. I think that's one of those you might not know how important it is until you know exactly how important it is to have that guy on your team. And it's good for him to get kind of, the first one out of the way and move forward. And then on top of that, get the horses going as well. The Svech, Aho, Rantanen line, get them going. Little supplemental scoring from guys like Hall. That's how your forward group starts to come together. Anything you'd like to add, Dennis? I've been talking a lot about the Canes, but I know you were there.
Being there last night, it looked and felt like Canes hockey. And the new guys fit into what they do. And it fit well.
And you got good performances from the role players as well, right? They've filled in. It's not just the stars. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Tar Heels going to reverse it and now flip it back to Harrell. He's going to try a deep ball. Wide open, waiting for it, and making the catch at the 9 is Hamilton, and he'll ride a Charlotte defender in for the touchdown.
That's a North Carolina football highlight, UNC. UNC is going to be on Hard Knocks this offseason. Hard Knocks, this show that is traditionally behind the scenes of NFL teams. Last offseason, they did an offseason Hard Knocks behind the scenes of the front office of the New York Giants. This year, it'll be behind the scenes of the Tar Heels. I'm fascinated by this. First of all, just selfishly, gives us a ton of content to talk about the Tar Heels throughout the offseason. Some of those slower moments we'll be talking about Belichick. But I'm also wondering if this doesn't inherently show us how somebody like Bill Belichick looks at college football differently than the NFL. Because I think there's a 0.0000% chance that Bill Belichick would have entertained the idea of having Hard Knocks go to a New England Patriots offseason or a New England Patriots preseason. Right? I just don't think he would have let the cameras in. Now, North Carolina, he hasn't even coached a single game at UNC, and already he's going, HBO, everybody come on in, set up shop.
What time y'all on air? Let's go.
What do you think that says about how he sees college football and what he's trying to do at UNC differently than what he's done with the NFL?
He understands he has to play the game.
Yeah.
It's the recruiting game. He has to play the game. It's different than trying to lure a free agent in. You have to play the recruiting game. And this is all part of it.
I also wonder if he thinks college football is more Jimmys and Joes than X's and O's. Where with New England, he's like, no, like me and Brady, we have like proprietary things that we do that if anyone else knew about them, that would ruin some of our advantage. North Carolina, I think he's going to be more like, now we're going to try to get the best dudes on campus. And, you know, it's the old adage about why I think oftentimes all-time great athletes make bad coaches, because they're like, you know, Michael Jordan just like, then you jump from the free throw line and you dunk it. And everyone else is like, oh, didn't think of that. Sorry. Thanks for teaching me, coach.
But Wayne Gretzky was never a successful hockey coach.
It's like, yeah, that's when you just feel the presence of the defender on your back without seeing him, and you make a no-look pass to the wide-open guy in front of the net. It's like, coach, I can't do that. I think what Belichick is saying by letting cameras in is you're going to see what they do to be successful, and it's not going to be easily replicated, right? It's going to be like, no, we just have the better team. We're gonna do things that you can't replicate because you don't have the guys that we have. And maybe even because you don't have the coaches we have. You don't have the NFL experience that we have, right? Dabo Swinney, for all the national championships he has, can't say this is what a 6-time Super Bowl winning NFL coach is looking for when you're developing NFL players. You can see us do it on Hard Knocks. We can let you in. You don't have the same credibility we have. Also, think of the storylines. This was a shout out to Paul Ihander, host of Next Up every morning here on 99.9 The Fan, every weekday morning, also our PD, program director. He was like, it's all about background. It's all about storylines. UNC, I completely forgot about it. Max Johnson gets hurt. Starting quarterback for UNC last year, gets hurt week 1. Brutal injury out there in Minnesota. So you have the battle back for him, and who's his dad? Brad Johnson, Super Bowl winning quarterback. So there's storylines there. You have Bryce Baker, the blue chip recruit, coming in trying to be the first freshman to play for Bill Belichick. You have really a ton of really cool storylines going on that we'll be able to learn more of this offseason, and it's all going on UNC on Hard Knocks. So get your HBO subscriptions now, I guess, or friend's password. That's number 4. Let's head to number 3.
Taylor 10 on the ticker. Leaves it left for McNeil. Rise, fire 3. Yes, sir! Left wing, Paul McNeil, 5-0.
NC State at Georgia Tech, men's basketball, tomorrow. Dennis, is there anything, absolutely anything State could do to make this season feel like less of how bad it feels right now?
Sneak into the ACC tournament and win it.
Sneak in would be, they're going to need help elsewhere.
Exactly.
They'd have to win this one, the next one, and they have 3 more games, right?
They have 3 more games
and
left.
Another. That's go 3-0.
Basically, you have to gain 2 games on Cal, who's ahead of you.
And you don't play them, so you don't have that. Or they do.
They played them already.
Okay,
they lost to them.
They don't. They're not remaining on the schedule is what I'm saying, which would give them, obviously, a better chance of chasing them down. Here's the deal. If you are on the NC State team as a player, modern college basketball, right? You're playing for your opportunities next year. You're playing for leverage. The better you are, if you have eligibility left, the more likely you can enter the portal and have options. The more likely you can be a priority for NC State to bring you back. The more likely you can make more money in NIL. That's always on the table, even when team goals are kind of off the table. And that alone right there is a fascinating place to be. Because, selfish motivations can come into play. And I'm not even saying that's the wrong way to handle it, because you got to take care of yours. But, points matter. You know what I mean? Scoring, averages, all that sort of thing. Unlike in years past, it's a different business. And it feels kind of icky saying that, right? If this were, 1997, young guys are just trying to play to get better. They're just trying to get tape. They're trying to show coach that they're ready for a bigger role next season. Now, they might not even be worried about what Kevin Keats is doing. They might be worried about what some other team out there is doing. NC State's going to look a lot different next year. So, with changes coming, you're playing for your role. That's really the only way I can say it. And if you're Ben Middlebrooks, if you're Michael O'Connell, if you're some of these guys who might be exhausting your eligibility, this is your last memory, right? This is your senior day. That sort of like this is it. How your college career will be coming to a close. You want to end on a high note. As somebody played college football, and every athlete will tell you, you want to go out with at least a little bit of a bang, no matter how bad that season was. That is number 3. Let's head to number 2.
Just the 2 of us. Con Knippel, top of the key, drives, right elbow. Here's a lob. Malowacz to throw it down to get the party started.
Duke, Florida State tomorrow. Now, Duke is in obviously a different place than just about everyone else in the ACC. But that's not to say they're not jockeying for position, right? They do want to be the number 1 overall seed. They do want to have that first round in Raleigh, right? One of the locations for the first couple rounds of the bracket. And they want to win the ACC, right? They want to, and Duke is, by the way, this year, vying for their spot kind of in history. What we talked about earlier today off air. There's an article on ESPN.com ranking the 24 national champions of this century. So going back to the year 2000. And I'm not saying Duke should be thinking about that yet. You got to go win the national championship before you start thinking about that legacy. But since the ACC has expanded their conference schedule to whatever it is, 20 games, I think the best anyone has done is 17-3.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And that was, I want to say, maybe UNC last year?
Yeah.
Duke is sitting at 1 loss right now. They dropped the game to Clemson. If they win out, they're looking at 19-1, which would, regular season ACC, give you more wins than anyone has ever won in a regular season in the ACC. I think you should care about that. I never like when a team is like undefeated in the NFL and then they start resting starters down the stretch. And I'm going like, nah, man, like competitors want to be the greatest of all time. Did you see, what's the guy's name? Man, he's playing Bob Dylan and he's up for the Oscars. Goodness gracious. He was Wonka. Do you not know? Chalamet. Timothy Chalamet. Would have ruined my Friday if I didn't get that. Did you see Timothy Chalamet's SAG Award speech? Anybody? You ready for this? My dude is an athlete. I think he's like, he can fit in your pocket and he's an actor, Broadway type. But he's an athlete. He said, I'm trying to be the greatest. He won like a SAG Award. He said, I want to go down with not just Brando and Viola Davis and Daniel Day-Lewis, but I want to go down in history with Michael Phelps and Michael Jordan. And I loved it, right? Don't shy away from giant goals. Duke's playing Florida State this weekend. Does it matter as far as, their possibilities in the ACC tournament, or can they win it all? If they play well against Florida State or not? If they win by 30 or if they win by 4, does it really matter? Not on small scale. But if you're chasing those big and lofty goals, if you're chasing, you want to go down with Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Michael Jordan? Yeah, it does, right? That their Ken Palm is through the roof. Their offensive efficiency, defensive, chase it. Florida State brings some interesting challenges. They are the 4th tallest team in the country, so they're not somebody that's going to be just brutally overmatched height-wise by Duke, which a lot of teams are. And Tyrese Proctor and Malik Brown are still out with injuries, so Duke is scrambling their rotations a little bit, going to have to go deeper into their bench. That's enough right there to keep it fresh, to keep you engaged. It's a home game. Win the game. Win the game. By a bunch. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
As Lubin has it high post. Handoff to Cadeau. Lobs it back to Lubin. What a violent finish on a beautiful play.
UNC has less abstract reasons to be all the way checked in. Dennis, I know you're always up on the bracketology. Where does UNC sit? I believe there was an updated bracketology today, correct?
There is. There is actually an updated bracket today. So Joe Lunardi, ESPN, has the last 4 teams in, and then there's also the first 4 teams out.
Yep.
The first team out is Georgia. The next team right behind them is UNC. But here's something to keep in mind.
They're second team out.
They're the second team out. Here's something to keep in mind if you're a UNC fan this weekend. The last team in is Texas. The first team out is Georgia. Those 2 schools play each other tomorrow.
Okay.
That's a bet. So that's a big one. The game's being played at Georgia. That's that might be a loser leaves town match. And we've had a few of those. That might be a loser leaves town match.
A loser leaves town match, and a winner kind of solidifies themselves match.
Yes.
So, I'll say this: if UNC is second team out, but first team in, first team out, play each other, UNC is inherently kind of really the first team out because one of them will eliminate each other.
You think?
You would.
You would think.
I've been wrong with the bracketologists in the past. Here's where it goes for UNC. Here's kind of next up. This is, quite frankly, the reason you play basketball, right? It is high stakes. It is you have to win. We talked about it in in our cubicles earlier today, where Dennis was in the bracketology and he was looking at all these games and he was doing what he just did, right? Texas and Georgia are playing, and who's SMU playing, and who's this team's playing, and first of all, that's part of the reason why NCAA basketball is so fun. It's why the tournament is awesome. It's why the bubble is great. But also, if I'm UNC, I do think part of their little upswing here is they stopped paying attention to the noise, and it was just, let's win this game, right? And they're playing Miami tomorrow. UNC against Miami tomorrow. Obviously, their bubble chances go up if their chances of playing an NCAA tournament go up if all the other teams on the bubble lose. And they could get caught stat watching, and they could get caught, hey, we need this team to lose and that team to lose, and if this team wins and if that team wins, how great is this, how great is that? But none of that matters if they drop a dumb one to Miami. Right? None of that matters if they drop a dumb one to Virginia Tech next. None of that matters if they don't do something in the ACC tournament. So if I'm Hubert Davis, I'm doing everything I can to block out the noise and make this make it about us game, right? Whether we get into if we don't lose another game, we're in the NCAA tournament. That might be the easiest way to put it, right? If we win every game from here on out, we're in the NCAA tournament. That includes Duke in the regular season finale. That includes the games in the ACC tournament. If you think you're the biggest, baddest bully on the block, which North Carolina should never think otherwise, you're UNC. You win the rest of your games, you get to play in the NCAA tournament, regardless of what Georgia does, regardless of what all these SEC teams that have all these ranked opponents on their schedule to go get trophy wins. If you win the rest of your games, you're in.
So other games to watch if you're in North Carolina. Another school to watch is Ohio State. Ohio State is right ahead of Texas in terms of the last 4 teams in. Ohio State actually finishes their year against Nebraska, who is a team that's also on the bubble but a little bit more secure than Ohio State and Texas. But also Ohio State, again, one of the last 4 teams in, closes the year against Indiana, who's also one of the last 4 teams in according to Joe Lunardi. Indiana. So you are hopefully, maybe if you're a UNC fan, maybe you're rooting for Ohio State to beat Indiana and Nebraska that are ahead of Ohio State. Continue to knock those teams down. So there's a lot of intriguing matchups that are taking place with all these teams that are on the bubble right now, including Oklahoma. For example, Oklahoma closes out the year against Texas. Oklahoma also one of the last 4 schools in. So you're looking at some of these schools that are sitting right there on the bubble. You have Texas has to play both Georgia and Oklahoma, all bubble teams. Indiana has to play Ohio State. Ohio State also has to play Nebraska, all bubble teams right there as well. There's a lot of congestion right there, and a lot of these schools are playing each other. It's a pretty exciting last 8 days of the college basketball season.
How crazy is that? Just hearing those brand names. Ohio State, Indiana, UNC, these are teams fighting for their just to make the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. Those teams should be in every year.
They should.
Like just based on history, resources, they should be in every year. They're scrapping and clawing to not be the gigantic national brand that their fan base is just absolutely furious with. That's what they're fighting for down the stretch. Hey, I talk about the bear or the hare. Right? Are you motivated by chasing something that's great, or are you motivated by the fear of what's chasing you? Those fan bases, that's the bear chasing their teams, right? You do not want to deal with Indiana fans if you don't make the tournament. UNC fans if you don't make the tournament. That's where the teeth come out. So it'll be a high-stakes little sprint to the finish here, and I'll repeat it again. UNC, make it about you. Don't get caught watching Ohio State too much. Get caught watching your darn self, right? Watch your own back. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need to grab some numbers game contestants, but first, here's our very own Dennis Cox.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I want to let everyone know about an opportunity that you have right now. You have an opportunity to go win a custom-built motorcycle, a custom Caniacs motorcycle, because the Law Tigers, Tobacco Road, Harley-Davidson, Shiny Side Paint, and your Carolina Hurricanes, they've all teamed up once again to give one lucky fan a custom Caniacs motorcycle. It's beautiful, folks. Custom painted with Canes colors, Canes decals and logos all on it. Custom built motorcycle, so it's truly one of one. But maybe you're nervous. Say, well, I'm not a motorcycle rider. Maybe that's something I'm unsure about doing. I've thought about it. Beautiful day like today, be kind of nice to cruise around a motorcycle, but I'm not sure. I've never ridden one before. I'm not sure if it's going to be safe. Go to Tobacco Road Harley-Davidson. You can take one of their riding safety classes. I took it. It was wonderful. It was great. That's where I learned how to ride my motorcycle, and I can't wait to get back on my motorcycle and ride now that the weather's starting to turn great. So if you're unsure about that, that's where you can get the confidence to start riding. And you know what? The best thing is, if you win the bike and you learn how to ride, you win it, folks. It's pretty simple. Go to caniacsbike.com. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Go caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win a custom-built motorcycle. Deadline April 6th, folks. A lot closer here than you think. Go to caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, needs numbers game contestants. Today, the prize for the final time, since it's Friday and we usually do prizes for an entire week, Luke Bryan tickets. Luke Bryan is coming to Coastal Credit Union Music Park on June 7th, and we have a pair of tickets going to whoever wins the numbers game today. So if you've been trying all week, this is your last chance. Call in right now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up next.
The Adam Gold Show.
3-5-1. They have scored 22 goals since the trade. 7 of them came in one game against Utah.
There is that.
4 of them came against the Rangers. You know who didn't play in the 7-goal game? Mikko Rantanen.
Mm-hmm.
They scored 11 goals combined in the other 7 games. They are 1-5-1 in those 7.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
A few contest rules from sports radio stations The Fan, The Buzz. No purchase necessary. 21 to enter and play. Limited to 1 entry per person and 1 prize winner per family or household per contest every 30 days. Employees of Capital Broadcasting, its agencies, sponsors, subsidiaries, other broadcast companies, and immediate families of the above are ineligible to play. Winners are verified, complete documentation, and are responsible for all taxes and prizes received. All prizes are non-transferable and cannot be redeemed for cash. Winners give sports radio the right to publicize his or her name, likeness, or voice. Sports may change contest rules and prizes at any time and holds no liability for canceled or postponed events. Complete info of sports radio contests available at WRALSportsFan.com or during normal business hours at 3100 Highwoods Boulevard in Raleigh.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What? You expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Lowe's knows that your deadlines don't change, even when your job does. But with Lowe's Buy Online, Pick Up in Store, we'll help you adjust on the fly. And when you absolutely can't leave the project, we can deliver to your job site as soon as same day. Lowe's knows pros. We help, you save. Valid on eligible in-stock orders and select zip codes placed by 2 p.m. for same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. More terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. We have Frank and Clayton on the line. That'll be one of our contestants battling it out in the numbers game for Luke Bryan tickets. We also have Andrew in Raleigh. Andrew in Raleigh, some of you may remember, it was this week, correct? Earlier this week. He had a 5 for 5. He went perfect score, only to get bested by the next contestant who had a record-breaking, actually, 5 for 5.
Yep.
So Andrew is trying to do it again, I guess. Go 10 for 10 and get the win. Frank and Clayton doing his best to make that not happen. As always, we will ask a question, see which answer Dennis likes more, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Frank and Clayton. Frank, are you there?
I am here.
All right. The question for today, just as it is most Fridays, is what is the thing you're looking forward to most this weekend? But because we're a sports show, keep it sports related.
Oh, it's got to be the Canes back-to-back home games against Edmonton and Calgary. So, no question.
Solid answer.
Yes, sir. I actually work as an usher, so I'm working tomorrow night's game. So I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
So.
Confident answer. I like the definitive nature. We'll see if Dennis chooses you. Let's go to Andrew and Raleigh. Andrew, you are next up. Same question. What are you most looking forward to about the weekend? But keep it sports related.
He took my answer. I've got tickets to both games.
Wow.
So I don't have a good answer.
I mean, you could argue that is a good answer. Dennis, who are you going with?
I mean, both great answers. I got to go Frank. I mean, he said it first. Yes. But hey, props. I mean, it should be a fun weekend if you're a Canes fan. Should be a real fun
Absolutely.
weekend.
I love both of those games, and hopefully the Canes can make it even more fun with a couple of dubs.
Should have some nice weather tomorrow.
I have no idea what the weather's supposed to be.
Tailgate action.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice. Frank and Clayton, you get to go first. Andrew and Rob, you know what? Andrew wants to go second. I know what happened here. He already said my answer because he's last time going first got him. So this time I see what's going on.
Playing the game.
Frank and Clayton, you get to go first. Are you ready to pick a category?
I am.
All right. The categories are NFL players that have been franchise tagged since 2020, NFL players who have a Chris in their name somewhere, NBA all-hyphen team, players with hyphens in their name, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Hurricanes only.
All right. The way this works, I'll give you the team and the player. I will say the team, even though we know it in this category, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions?
No.
All right.
All good.
Perfect. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Eric Robinson, Carolina Hurricanes.
50.
Correct. Jackson Blake, Carolina Hurricanes.
53.
Correct. Kevin Adams, Carolina Hurricanes.
14.
Correct. Mike Komisarek, Carolina Hurricanes.
Who?
Mike Komisarek.
Oh, 8.
Incorrect. Nolan Pratt, Carolina Hurricanes.
5.
Incorrect. Mike Komisarek, Carolina Hurricanes.
88.
Incorrect.
No.
Nolan Pratt, Carolina Hurricanes.
7.
Incorrect. Mike Komisarek, Carolina Hurricanes.
7. Man.
Well, I might have thrown you off there, a little pronunciation issues, but still solid. 3. I was doing my best for you, I promise.
Okay, no problem.
Number 3 is the answer. We'll see if it holds up. For those of you playing at home, by the way, Komisarek is number 5, so you were close on that one. And Nolan Pratt 4 was the number we were looking for. Frank, stay on hold. We'll see if it holds up. Andrew and Raleigh, you are next. Are you ready to roll?
I am.
All right. The categories you get to choose from are NFL players that have been franchise tagged since 2020, NFL players with a Chris somewhere in their name, or NBA all-hyphen team. Those are players with hyphens in their name.
Let's go with Chris.
Okay. NFL players with Chris somewhere in their name. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need at least 4 for the win. Any last-second questions?
No questions.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Christian McCaffrey, San Francisco 49ers.
22.
Incorrect. Chris Carter, Minnesota Vikings.
80.
Correct. Chris Collinsworth, Cincinnati Bengals.
Pass.
Chris Johnson, Tennessee Titans.
28.
Correct. Christian McCaffrey, San Francisco 49ers.
23.
Correct. Chris Boswell, Pittsburgh Steelers.
4.
Incorrect. Chris Collinsworth, Cincinnati Bengals.
88.
Incorrect. Chris Boswell, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
You know what? That's a tie. Tie goes to whoever goes first. The order is just crushing you, Andrew. I feel you went first last time. You got a perfect score, only to have the person that went second post a faster perfect score. And then this time you go second and you tie with 3, which tie goes to whoever goes first. So I'm not going to enjoy this, but it's not your win. I hope you had some fun.
Brutal.
It is. Enjoy the games though. Enjoy the Canes games. Hopefully your luck will turn as a Canes fan. And that means Frank and Clayton is the winner. Frank, congratulations. You are the winner of the Luke Bryan ticket.
Okay, I appreciate it, sir.
Like I said, congrats. Go ahead and stay on the line. I'm glad my mispronunciation didn't cost you. Dennis needs some information from you to make sure you get your tickets.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's a Friday. That wasn't my best performance, but hey, I feel for Andrew, but we're going to try to keep the vibes high. By the way, yesterday, speaking of beating myself up, yesterday, my question to see who goes first was, what is the best fictional coach of all time? It was inspired by Gene Hackman passing away, and obviously he played Norman Dale, he played Jimmy McGinty and Hoosiers and the Replacements. And I said, what's the best fictional coach of all time? And it seemed like everybody was like, oh, that's a really tough question. Somebody who was listening online sent me a Twitter DM, an x.com DM, and said, the question was not that hard. Everybody just froze. And they sent me a list. I agree. I'm going to read some of the names that everybody was struggling to come up with. How about Ted Lasso? Huh? How about Morris Buttermaker from a little movie called Bad News Bears? Right? What about Jackie Moon? One of my personal favorites, John Candy, the late great, played Irv Blitzer in Cool Runnings. Mickey from Rocky. There's a lot of answers there. Jimmy Dugan from League of Their Own. Chubbs from Happy Gilmore. Mr. Miyagi. Eric Taylor from there's plenty. Yesterday, I feel like we let everyone off the hook saying it was a bad question. There are a lot of good fictional coaches that they could have used, and everybody else froze.
Ted Lasso,
Danny O'Shea, Little Giants, Coach Klein, Waterboy. Ready for this one?
Yeah.
Patches O'Houlihan.
Hey, you got a little patches.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
Tony D'Amato from Any Given Sunday. There's plenty. This is all coming from the list that somebody sent me, but still. Great list. I was beating myself up for asking a bad question. I think it was a good question. Bad answers. Anyway.
Sometimes you got to simplify your game. That's all you
First of all, I try to come up with a question every single day, all right? We've been playing the numbers game now for almost 2 years. That is 2 years of questions to ask, and then Dennis has to pick the favorite answer. You'd be surprised how many times I'm like, numbers game contestants, and I don't know what the question I'm going to ask is yet. So yesterday I thought that was actually a good one. So
it's a little bit different.
I'm defending myself a little bit here.
Anybody running fast at the combine right now?
Nick Emanwari, a 4.40. We'll talk about him in a second. He's actually back on the line, getting ready to run another 40. This is a safety from South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He is a little over 6'3", 220 pounds. He is a monster. I will give you his time on his second run of the 40 in a second here.
Yeah, literally 1 second. Oh, because he's done.
4.38.
So he ran faster a second time? Gosh, that dude just made some money.
He has now, I believe, I'm gonna, of everyone that's gone so far, he has amongst safeties the second fastest 40 at 4.38. He has the longest broad jump at 11.6, which is one of the best in history. He has the highest vert at 43 inches, which is again one of the highest in history, and he's 6'3", 220.
But can he play football?
Well, somebody is going to bet that they can take that ball of clay and turn it into somebody that can be an exceptional football player. That is absurd.
It is amazing to me just the level of athleticism that we've seen in all sports, not just football, but really in all sports.
Goodness gracious.
The size of athletes, the explosiveness, everything that we have seen from men's and women's sports. It's truly is remarkable what training and technology has done nowadays in terms of how you can actually alter your training plans to fit you specifically for your body types and your recovery. There's so much emphasis on recovery now. The stuff that I know now, I was like, gosh, I wish I knew this as an athlete 20 years ago.
Do you know what?
I wish.
There's two things I'll add to that. One, it shows the difference between great college athletes and great NFL athletes. Somebody like Aeneas Peoples, who started at Duke and then transferred to Virginia Tech, had a solid year for his last year, and then was at the Combine yesterday. I mean, you watched him at Duke. He was a big dude in the middle, interior defensive lineman, pushing people around. He goes to the Combine. He was 280-something, one of the smaller defensive tackles at the Combine. It's like, oh, he was the big bad bully on the block in college. It just shows you how gigantic the best athletes going to the NFL are. Secondly, the NFL Combine is like the number one example of like us being extremely out of shape, sitting on the couch, watching someone run like a 4.41 and go, oh man, that's awful.
Hey,
he's going to hate that. It's like a 4.38.
Hey, speak for yourself. I skate, top 9 forward minutes in beer league hockey at least once a week. So
it is the definition of
yourself.
Watching someone that is so much more athletic than us and us going, oh, that's terrible. Oh, look at that form. It's like, he just jumped 40 inches off the ground. Come on, man.
It's one of those things where you're still in your 30s. You sit there and look like, I could have done that when I was in college.
Yeah.
Then you're like, no, I could not have. No way. I wouldn't have been close to these guys.
I was in the 4.6s hand timed, which is like 4.8.
I don't even know what my 40 was in college, to be honest.
That was coming out of high school. But geez, like Andrew Makuba, a defensive back from Texas, just ran a 4.46. After watching him and Worry, I'm like, I don't know if 4.46 is going to get it done. It's flying. That is like the fastest person that you know. That is flying. It's crazy. Don't trust everybody, by the way. Second, don't trust high schoolers that say they're on a 4.3. They all say they're on a 4.3 or a 4.4. None of them do. Just letting you know. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have to make our picks before the weekend. We'll do so coming up next. Stick around.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I order the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Something amazing is happening. Despite a citywide blackout, this company is still up and running. That's because CDW deployed and managed a cost-effective Eaton Triplite Series Smart Pro UPS to safeguard equipment easily and reliably. Keep the power on and protect your IT equipment from electrical challenges. Triplite by Eaton and CDW. Make amazing happen. Find out more at cdw.com/triplite.
No two people learn the exact same way. So how did Babbel become the award-winning language learning app? We thought of you, all of you. Take Sierra. As a visual learner, she uses Babbel's wordplay videos.
Today I'll share a quick lesson on shopping in French.
Merci beaucoup. Keith is a be in the room with real people kind of learner. So he loves the live online classes with our language experts.
Okay, class. Vos está pronto.
Estamos prontos.
However you learn, Babbel makes it easy. Try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's time for the Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month.
Hello. Creighton Blackwell here from Coastal Credit Union and 99.9 The Fan. Tonight we are at Green Level High School, and we're here to celebrate the newest Scholar Athlete of the Month, Lexi Taylor.
My family is definitely like my biggest support through everything. My sister and my parents both
support me through my hardest days and my best days, and they're always there to support me.
Lexi's a phenomenal athlete, comfortable with whatever you ask her to do. She's strong, she's poised, she doesn't get flustered easily.
And she's just like grown up so much as like a captain and a teammate, and she's been a captain now for 2 years, and I really just think she's been like such a great help to our team.
Well, I've been cheering with her since 7th grade, and we're seniors now, so I've kind of like watched Lexi like grow up, I feel like, and she's like done the same with me. So I've like seen her like step into a leadership role, and I feel like she's just always super encouraging and keeps a positive attitude.
It means a lot to me to just be able to be recognized in such like a wide area with so many amazing athletes. So I just feel great to like feel like someone's like seeing all the hard work that I've been putting into my sport and my academics. So I'm very grateful for it.
Congratulations, Lexi.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
This hour of the drive brought to you by Enbridge Gas, formerly Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas. Dominion Energy North Carolina Gas customers are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Looking forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit enbridgegas.com.
He's bothered by Jarvis. Jarvis takes it away. Empty net. Seth Jarvis. Bingo! 10 goals in his last 9 home games. Polish the brass. Let's hear the song one more time. 5-2 Carolina.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. That Jarvis empty netter was a perfect cap to the night last night in the Canes/Whalers win over Buffalo. It was appropriate, right? Give Jarvis 1-2. Everybody was scoring. He needed to get in the action, and he did. Speaking of perfect ends, perfect end of the week is when we make picks here on The Drive. And the way we do that is Dennis sets up the game, gives us kind of the info we need, and then we make our predictions, we make our picks. So, Dennis, take it away. What are we looking at?
So I haven't really found a line on this one, but let's go right to basketball tomorrow. Let's go out to Chapel Hill. It's a noon tip-off. UNC is at home against Miami. I will see if I can find a line for you here real fast, but let's go ahead and start there.
I would assume the line is heavily in favor of UNC.
Should be about 9,000, I think.
I'm looking at it here. It looks like plus 16.5.
All right, I was close.
Yeah. Give me North Carolina. I don't know if they cover 16.5. But I don't think it's a sweated out victory either. Just go ahead and make it 12. I think UNC wins by 12, and it's as I said earlier, my bold predictions. I think a lot of it comes down to if Withers can keep up his recent streak of being a really, really productive player. If he does that, I could see him win by 20. If he comes back down to earth a little bit, I think they could win by 8 to 10. So I'm going 12, maybe 14 to split the difference there. Give me UNC to win.
All right, another noon tip-off in the ACC tomorrow. Pesky Virginia, UVA at home against Clemson. Clemson favored by 6.5 in this one. Again, pesky UVA team.
Yeah, I don't know if they're pesky.
Oh, that defense? Come on.
Well, see, I think that's a little reputation. They've given up some totals now. I think Clemson is. I think there's pretty big gaps between tiers in the ACC. There's Duke, big gap. Louisville, Clemson, big gap. Then there's the UNC, SMU, maybe Wake, like that next kind of tier. Then there's a gap to everybody else. So give me Clemson, who is multiple tiers above Virginia with multiple gaps. Clemson to win by a whole bunch.
And then below all those gaps and tiers, we have NC State on the road, 3 o'clock tomorrow at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech 14-14 this season, 8-9 in the ACC.
Georgia Tech is a 9.5-point favorite. Here's the deal. We talked about Georgia Tech earlier. Georgia Tech is Jekyll and Hyde. They're 3-5 in quad 1 games. They're a pretty good team when they're playing the really good teams. But they might not get up for the other games.
They don't have a quad 2 win this year.
That's how
ridiculous.
How ridiculous is that? 3-5 against quad 1s 0-6 in quad twos.
Weird.
I think State keeps it close. I think they cover. If I'm like, looking for smart money, gambling wise, give me Georgia Tech by 6. If I'm feeling froggy, I just might leap on an NC State win. Money line. Go get yourself paid. But 6 for Georgia Tech is kind of where I stand.
That should be ugly. All right, let's go ahead and go down to – let's actually go down the road further in the triangle. Let's go to Duke. At home tomorrow, 7 o'clock tip-off at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke is a 24.5-point favorite against Florida State. That's right, 24.5 points favored over Florida State.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think Duke's been on a warpath, man. Look at their last couple games. They've the thing that they've been able to do is like kind of empty the bench, and the bench keeps scoring, right? What you realize is their depth this year is different than last year. Like when they clear the bench, like Caleb Foster is out there scoring 10 points in the second half. Caleb Foster, quite frankly, is not a bench player in the ACC. He goes to just about any other school. He's a starter.
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Evans is not a bench player in the ACC. He goes to anywhere else, he might be a leading scorer. But for Duke, those are the guys that are kind of like after the starters get a rest. So yeah, I think they covered. I think especially with Proctor out with an injury and Malik Brown out with an injury, I think it keeps it fresh enough. It kind of keeps them engaged enough to not sleepwalk through anything. Give me Duke to cover.
All right, I'm going to throw a couple random games out here at you.
I can't guarantee they'll be the most informed guesses, but I'll give you my predictions.
Top 25 matchup, top 20 matchup. Number 1, Auburn on the road at number 17, Kentucky, with your guy, Andrew Carr. Auburn, 4.5-point favorites on the road in Lexington.
Used to be my guys.
Yeah.
Former Blue Hen. Former Wake Forest.
Your guy, right?
Now Kentucky. That happens too often now in college basketball. It's tough. Kentucky's very rarely going to be like at a talent disadvantage to anyone, but it does. I'm going to go Auburn for the simple fact of the stat I learned this week, which is they're like the average age of the starting 5 for Auburn is 23 and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm taking the team with the most veteranship. Go ahead and give me Auburn because they are all almost old enough to rent a car.
Wow.
Their 1 year, their starting 5 is 1 year less in average age than the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are one of the best teams in the NBA. It's like 23.4 and 24.3, their average starting 5. So, yeah, give me the NBA aged college team in Auburn to beat Kentucky.
All right, final one at the Lenovo Center. 7 o'clock tomorrow night, the Carolina Hurricanes at home against the Edmonton Oilers.
You know what? You can call it the last one. I'll give you both. Canes go 2-0 over the weekend.
Oh, okay.
On the back-to-back at home, they beat Edmonton at home on Saturday. They beat Calgary at home on Sunday. Tomorrow, I'm gonna go 4-3. I think it's a really good game. I think it's obviously Edmonton has their dudes. I'm gonna go 4-3, and a late goal from Mikko.
Oh, okay.
3-3 until he puts the game winner in about 2 minutes left.
By the way, Edmonton and Carolina have the exact same record, 34, 21, and 4. The exact same record.
That's funny, especially with how much change has kind of happened around. Like they end up right in the exact same spot. And then Calgary, you actually made the point earlier today. It's a back-to-back for the Canes, but it's a road back-to-back for Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
So, as tired as the Canes will be and as second half of a back-to-back as they will be, Calgary will be even more. So, it's going to be the Canes in that one. Couple sloppy goals early. 5-2. 5-2 is what we're looking at over Calgary.
Calgary's scratching and clawing to get into the playoffs. They are currently 1 point back of Vancouver with a game in hand for the last wild card spot in the Western Conference.
Yeah, but it's an optimistic Friday. The Canes won last night. The Whalers won last night. Once they turn it around, now they're never going to lose again. Everybody knows that.
It's facts.
Should be fun. I think both of those games are going to be really, really fun games for the Canes. Speaking of the Canes, we're going to lead off Overdrive talking about the Canes. Conversation from earlier today coming up in just a few minutes here on 99.9 The Fan. We'll also hit some UNC basketball talk, and you can catch both Canes games here on 99.9 The Fan. So
that's right.
It is the home for the Canes here, and we very much enjoy filling that role for you. So if you're out and about, can't make it to the game, you can always catch it right here on 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe to our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Tell your friends about it. We'd appreciate it. And we will see you on Monday at 3 for more of The Drive. Like I said, Overdrive is coming up next. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Johnson trying to step back for a 3. Bring it up. Left side. Boy, that was cold.